Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody? How's it going there, FS? How's it going there, Simon? How's it going, Zachy? How are you guys doing today? So back to the SSTO. Did some work a little bit last night, not too much on it. So we'll go take a look. So I'm at O'Neill. So a bunch of people have been asking, mostly new players on Reddit, what's not. Do you need the DLC to get it, or do you need Industrial Frontier to get access to be able to launch? And the answer is no. Right here at O'Neill, there's a large area here. I've decided to move the operations to O'Neill because I'm sick of falling that hole in the ground. So, did some stuff here. I re-engineered the pistons, so the pistons all work well now. They're not having any collision issues, so that's good. Put some RCS in. They're not plumbed up yet, but we have RCS here and here, symmetrically on either side. So I need to get those plumbed in. Did a little bit of work on, for example, this is now a door that leads into the airlock so that we'll be able to do spacewalk from a side door. And so we have cockpit, passenger cabin. The airlock is right here. It's pretty much the airlock is in the checkerboard, and then we have payload and then power unit down there. So nice thing again is going to be I'll be able to cut the power unit off and use that as a module to put in other top sections. That's kind of nice. So let's see, what else did I do? I don't know. Let's look. A little bit of plumbing. I put Basilisc's gauges in there. I switched over the gear to be on the panel. I put in some gauging to be able to read fluids, so I know how much gas I have in my setup. So just mainly that, frankly. Not too much. Paint, stuff like that. So that is the airlock door right there. So pretty much all you need is, as you can see, it has a custom door, and that's going to just put it into place. You don't need to use the custom door hinges. That's something some people think you always do. I'm going to have to double check it because they did make some changes. I want to make sure that still works, but should work. We'll see. So let's actually start there. I did infinite electricity, infinite fuel just to get to the moon. I had yet to get to the moon, so play with that. Takes a little while to fuel this. This is not intended to be going to the moon anyway. This is going to be going up to a space station. Some people put up on Reddit how to convert the astronomical sensor into normal data. So I know Basiliscus, I've been speaking to Basiliscus lately, and I think he's working on, or interested in work, let's put it that way. He's interested in working on potentially some stuff for more gauging that could go with this, but no confirmation on that. I know he's working on something else presently. And so, you know, we can do some conversion stuff where essentially all we really need to do is convert the numbers over. So once we leave 40,000 meters, we can then switch over to the astro sensor. And then once we get within 40,000 meters, we switch back from the astro sensor to terrestrial-based instrumentation. So that should work out pretty well. And then for nav stuff, we'll do that as well. So kind of the hope is to use this to put up some space station parts. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do. Let's see what needs doing. So mostly some gauging. So RCS, I need to play with the RCS a little bit. So what my thought process on RCS is going to be this, is you can use compressed gas for RCS. And so we have this large volume between the tanks that's full of compressed gas. It starts compressed. We could further compress it if we need it. I also have reaction wheels here, but this is the RCS ports. And so one thought is to further compress the gas in the RCS so that when we're going to use the RCS system, it will pump the gas into the RCS ports, and then we'll be able to use it. You know, you'd have to probably carry quite a bit of RCS if you didn't do it this way, so we'll see how this works. Let's read some chat. Yeah, they have not. I was kind of, one of the reasons why the stream's a little later today was I was sitting waiting for an update. Let's put it this way. Generally, what the latest they've ever put out an update was, I think, 3 p.m. my time. Currently, it is 1:30. The benefit of having a late update is it's generally because they're working on something and they're trying to get it done. If you think about they're in the UK, I believe. So if you think about it, they're I think Greenwich time. So it'd be 7:30 p.m. their time. And so if they're still working at 7:30 p.m., that could be a sign that they're trying to fix some bugs before the weekly update. That would not surprise me because, if you think you're going to get the bugs fixed, or I think the last main blocker is kind of the Steam issue with Steam stuff. Again, it's speculation, but for example, if you thought you were going to get close to fixing the Steam stuff and you could have it done before the weekend, it would make sense to me for them to put it out, to work a little bit later on the Friday night to get that done. So we'll see. But I've been sitting here refreshing. I haven't seen it update yet, so I usually try to get the weekly update video out first. How's it going there, Rasmus? So let's see. We have RCS ports. I'm trying to let's play with operating these first. And so pretty much, if we look at the RCS port here, component X plus, X minus, Z plus Z. So X, Y, one direction, X, Y in the other direction. I think I'll write these nodes down. I still like to do paper for a lot of this. It just makes it a lot easier. Or a screenshot. Screenshots are good too. Do a quick screenshot is another really quick way of doing it. I like doing that because it, I do that for a lot of my, like if I do a really large cockpit, one thing I'll do is I'll take a screenshot of it because that way it allows me to, just go back and reference it and I count the numbers out. I don't have to keep tabbing out, so that's kind of, I'll often do that. So, all right, so I have a big picture of it as you can see here. So that helps. I could keep this on and just check this instead. So those are the channels for the RCS thruster. So we're going to have to find out XY. So we're going to do a little bit of testing, and once we figured all that out, we'll be good to go. All right, so I want to do a quick RCS microcontroller. So RCS, you're going to be using the vacuum. It seems that they did not make the reaction wheels overly strong, which I like. Like, for example, Kerbal, the reaction wheels are very strong. The benefit is you can make some really cool stuff. You can make some unrealistic stuff. I think that's always cool. But, like in this game, for example, you can easily stack. You could put 20 of them in there if you wanted, so you can still get the desired benefit if you want. But they're a little bit on the realistic side. They're not overly controllable. Or overpowered, let's put it that way. Alright, so we have the RCS control unit. We're going to have 4 composites going out. This is, like, I think I brought up the post yesterday. Somebody was like, game's getting worse and worse, and I'm like, it's getting better and better, and they were aghast that I could think that. And the whole thing is, like, for example, it's the little things I think some people aren't seeing. Like, for example, the RCS thrusters, old school Stormworks, what they would have done is they would have made them a 1x2. And you would have had X, all right, even made 1x4 or something. But they would have made it so that it was X plus XY was on one number node, and Y plus, or Z plus minus was on another number node. That would make the block 1x2, and then you'd have green numbers going to it. Instead, they've gone composite, so we can have a 1x1 RCS node and use composite. So they're starting to go more towards composite, which I think is a big benefit here. So we'll do port, bow, this one is star bow. All right. This one is port, stern, and port, star stern. All right. So that's the 4 RCS thrusters going in there. I need some sort of controller. Likely it's going to be the seat. Alright, there's the RCS controller, so we'll run with that. Port bow and stern. Alright, good. So I'm just going to do a really quick test here. I want to see, so we'll do... So first thing I want to do is we're going to work with, I want to pitch the nose down. So pitching the nose down is going to be the W key. Alright, so that's going to be 2. So number 2. Alright, so number 2. And I want to see how these are. I did do a test on this already. I just want to double check it here. I'm trying to think how I want to run this. I don't want to have to convert that over. Let me see. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Let's just play with this. I just want to test these numbers out really quickly. So we'll go to... I don't know if they're variable. I can't remember. Let me see. I can't remember if they're Boolean or not. Does anyone know off the top of their head if RCS is Boolean or not, or a number? Let me check. Alright, so let's see. We'll play with it really quickly. I did a test on it, but... Let's go ahead and save this really quick. I'll see if I can pull up my test. I don't know if I saved it, but we'll do a quick test. It'll be a little bit quicker than this, maybe. No, I didn't save it, so... I don't think I saved it. Alright, so we'll just go with what we have here, and I'll do it here. So what I'll end up doing here really quickly is I'll just do a regular number off this. So we'll do, say, 1, and then I'll play with this because I'm trying to convert it over to use WS. But so let's see. I want to write. So 1. All right, and let's check. So I want to figure out which node is which on this. So that's x plus is 1. Okay, so we're going to expect to go to x plus. So let's start hooking some of this up. I'm actually on the bottom of my craft. I'm ventral, so I need to go dorsal. And that should be port bow, starboard stern. This should be port stern. And that should be starboard bow. Okay. So we're just going to trigger this really quick with 1 going to port bow. Alright, so that'll be x plus. And so I need to plumb that. So let's plumb it up. So I could go as simple as doing this for now. And then I'll further improve it later. So we'll just do that. And that will take, this is a pressurized volume already, so it should give us pressurized gas through there. I do dig the look of this. Okay. Let's jump in here, and I'm going to go 1. I can't tell if it's doing anything. Should be pre-pressurized, unless I completely screwed that volume up. Let's do, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a test stand because this is going to be easier than trying to deal with this like this. All right. All right. And then I can maybe make an example in a tutorial later. I haven't really gotten into much tutorial stuff yet, so. That would probably be helpful, and then I can just convert it into a tutorial later. If anyone sees the update pop up, just let me know. Keep wanting to make a base plate so I don't have to keep rebuilding them. There we go. Alright, so we'll make a quick RCS thruster here. We'll make a 4-position RCS thruster, which is what we have on the ship that I'm working with here, so. Come on, stop dragging like crazy, you sucker. There we go. Let's take some small gas tanks here just to test direction and functionality on these. All right, RCS nodes. So I'm thinking I want, you know, we're gonna need to translate, especially if we're doing docking forward first. So I don't know how I have it set up on the. I don't know how I have it set up on the main body, but we'll do this like so. So up and strong arrow down like so. All right. And I'm just going to do real simple to start with, and then I want to start converting it into actual panel. So again, let's look at the node really quickly. So you have x plus is 1, x minus 2, z is 3 and 4, and then this position stabilization, rotation. And then some of the other ones, essentially they're working together, which I don't know if I necessarily want them to work together or if I want to just do it myself. So I have to kind of decide that myself later. All right. Let's just do this. Let's save this. RCS example. All right, let's load this up really quickly. The nice thing with this spawn area has a really nice big area, so I can keep spawning here, which is nice. I kind of do want to move this to the right. There we go. Okay, I'll end up having to fix it again, but right, let's copy that. Let's look really quickly, which is that's dorsal. All right, so I have them facing up this way. We'll do the same orientation. Forward and up. Okay. So sometimes it's better to take it out as a test stand and run it because it's easier to make changes, and then kind of once I have the convention going on what I need to do, we're good then. So right, so forward and dorsal. Forward and dorsal. So let's delete these and go forward dorsal. So forward dorsal, like so. All right, good. So this would be port bow, starboard stern, starboard bow, port stern. All right. So not sure. I can't remember if they're numbers or not. So we're gonna run that one. Port bow will go like that. We'll also go to starboard bow will run the same, and then what I'll do is I will do the 2. I'll write those. Let's see, right number. And we'll do 2 channel counts starting on 3. And we'll run those. I'm just trying to get a puff of air, essentially, on these. All right. Way the hell over there. Bang. All right. So we'll try the, what do I have, 1 key? All right, so 1 key is pushing. So I'm going to just do a little bit of writing here. So let's see. So that will be, so the 1 key is dorsal. I'm sorry, ventral. Ventral. All right, so that's ventral. And then does S work or WS? No. So they seem on-offs. So it's kind of a pain to have to convert it, but I think we'll be all right. I might even make them a panel on there to do it. We'll see. All right, so they definitely seem to be Boolean. And I'm just going to quickly trade these out for huges just so I can do longer testing. I would like them to be number control because that way you can put out a little bit, but we'll see. All right, so we have the 4 on there now. Just double check that this is not running correctly there. 3 and 4. Okay, update that. All right, so if 1 is... So 1 was ventral. I'm trying to think how I would want this. Let's see. 1 was ventral. So let's test 2. The cool thing about this base, too, is I can put a train right there for fueling. So that's kind of neat. All right, we'll press 2. What's up? It's 1 again, but it's 2 is going to be dorsal. 2 is dorsal. Dorsal. All right. And I'm curious what how much that used, that little puff. So that was 89. And what's this one? Didn't look like it. Let's see. How much did it use? Doesn't appear that it really used much. Okay. All right, so let's just walk through the number here. I could do it all at once, but I kind of like to slow and steady. I don't need to do everything the fastest way. I just need to make sure it doesn't get screwed up, because fast is slow. You do it right the first time, it's a hell of a lot better than... Alright, and so let's trigger it again. Alright, so that's aft. 3 is aft. And that would make 4 forward, but we will test it, because it's better to test it than not. Okay. Yep, that would be forward. Okay, good. So we have the 4. Those are the 4 main things. I like to pilot this stuff. I want to kind of do a lot of it myself. So what we're going to do here next is... so I'm trying to decide how I want to do this, because I love to use WSAD, but let's see, I could use, you know what I could use? Up, down, left, right. That would work. Let's see. I could convert it over. I could do that. So right now I have my... Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the rockets. So right now I have my jet engines. The throttle is 1, 2. I think what I'm going to do is switch it. And then I have up, down as the... Up, down is the throttle for the... So the jets are 1, 2. The rockets, I think I'll switch to 3, 4. I'll probably do them in-cab throttles anyway as well. And then I'll do up, down, left, right as all of my RCS thrusts. So that's what I'll end up doing. All right, so let's do that. Let's configure the seat. So up, down is going to be reset 100%. Left, right, reset 100%. All right, so And then I'm trying to decide translation. So pitch will be up, down. All right, so we need to set this up. So let's get rid of that for now. Let's get rid of that for now. All right, and we want to read a number. And there's going to be 3, there's going to be 4. So that's up, down, left, right. I think Karl even had it up, down, left, right as your RCS translations. So, all right, so that is good. I'm trying to decide. This requires a lot of. All right, let's do something here. Let's play with the rocket, because what I want to do is, so we're working in 3-dimensional space here in space, so it gets complicated. So WS should remain pitch, AD should remain roll, yaw should. So then we need translation. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how Karl did it, because that was pretty good. Because we also want translation. We want to be able to thrust forward, back, left, right with the up, down, left, right. And then we want pitch, roll, yaw. We lose yaw with some of this. I'm trying to think of the best way to do it. So I could do... yeah, we'll figure it out here. But the thing I need to change is, so like I have, because in order for like my regular control surfaces, I need them reset. So I need AD, WS, all resets. And so I need to change them to reset 100% now. And so I can do that with number, blocks. It's frustrating. I could put a HOTA seat on, but I really don't want it to. Look at a HOTA seat really quickly. I just need more keys, essentially. I'm just lacking in keys, and I really don't want to put these HOTA seats on. I really dislike them. Like, see, I get more axes, so I can really do a lot here, but I really don't want to. Like, you see all my hotkeys? Insane amount of hotkeys. So I might put a... See, one thing is I don't like the look of the HOTA seat. Like, you can see it completely blocks, like, it takes out my bottom section of my panel, which I don't care for. So I really don't want to do that. That's the main issue, is it takes up so much of my panel. I need that. I could even do it as buttons on the on here. I might just do it as panel buttons and make it so it's controllable, because I need so many axes that... Yeah, Karl does have a button to toggle between modes. I was thinking that, because you can go into translation mode. So, yeah, that would make sense, because orient yourself up, orient yourself first. Yeah, let's do it that way. I was contemplating that. I think that's what I'll do. So, let's see. So, like, essentially what I'm going to do is up, down, left, right is going to be pitch and yaw. All right, and then what I'll do is be pitch and yaw, and then I will switch mode, and it will be forward, back, left, right translation. So I'll be missing an axis, but I'll fix it later. All right, so I think that's what I'll do. So I'll put a modifier in there, so when a modifier is selected, it switches it over. I'm going to have to, unless I put a HOTA seat in there. All right, so let's start talking about the motions here of what I need. We'll work on that. Especially, we're going to be getting into docking. We're going to be able to be getting into a bunch of stuff that's really, especially if I put up a space station, we need to be able to dock to it, which means we need a lot of maneuverability. So let's see. 3 and 4. All right. And so these are going to be reset 100%. So they're going to read out either 0, 1, or -1. Delete that. Okay. All right, so those are my thresholds there, and then I need to start putting in some bools in here. I'm surprised the update hasn't come out yet. Like I said, it could be that they are working on something and trying to, it would make sense just from like a psychological standpoint, is trying to get the final bug fixed, at the week mark essentially. That wouldn't surprise me, but I'll keep an eye out for it. All right, so we're gonna need 4 RCS thrusters for these. All right, so part of the independent testing there was to figure this out. So we have, so for example, let's say I push down the, I push the up arrow. That is pitch down. So in order to pitch down, I want the dorsal to go, and I want the ventral to go on. So I want dorsal to go on port bow, starboard bow. So if I go 3, and if 3 is 1, how the hell am I going to set this up? I'm trying to think here. Okay, let's do X. Yep, so that would be, let's see, port and starboard bow are going to be here. That's good, okay. And then I need port and starboard stern. Those are going to go for... Line these up here. All right, and that's going to be negative X. That's going to be X or... Okay. All right, so that is pitch down. So that will be... I need to write them out, but we'll do that in a second here. All right, so that is pitch down. Pitch up would be this control here. So that's going to be... pitch up there. I could just, you know what? I don't have to do a negative on them. Let's do this. I think I have a simpler way to do this. That's going to be better. Trying to think of all the axes right off the bat, not have to do this 10 times. Y or Z or W. Okay. All right, so let's see. So if I want to pitch down, I need to go there, there. That's going to be my 2 bows. And then I want to go there. Let's see where we're at right there. Okay. There, and there is going to be pitching down. All right, good. So that's pitch down is done. I haven't got... I figure out the translation here, how to translate. Let's try a quick run on this, and then we'll move from there. It's kind of wigging me out at the moment. What are you? One is ventral. Did I just screw this all up? God damn it. I think I did. This is kind of annoying me. My mind is not thinking well now. Damn COVID. Let's try that. Wow, this is just bugging the shit out of me right now. Let's see. I'll play with this a little bit. I'm not going to go into this too long. My mind's just not thinking well for doing this work right now. Yeah, it's just I'm not really, my thought process is not really running 100% for this right now. And then what channel's 2? 2 is dorsal. Screw that up again. Pitching down is dorsal. Yeah, why? Okay, so 2, yep, that's correct. Okay, so that should be, oh my god, here. Alright, I'm skipping this for now. I don't want to go through this. This is being a pain in the ass. But you just keep working on the SSTO. We'll save this up. We'll work on RCS later. I'm not interested in getting into it right now. I got COVID brain right now, and it's going to frustrate the shit out of me. Alright, let's keep working on some other stuff here. Let's work on the shock cones, which is just kind of a detailing thing. So shock cones move in and out. Shock cones. Let's see. We can work it up barometer. Pull the barometer right quick and see what the barometer reads for us. Updates up? Alright, let me look. I'll look in a second. Nice. Yeah, I had COVID. I got COVID early in the week. Unfortunately, I gave it to my parents. They're doing alright, but they've got it too, which sucks. But, I don't know where I got it. I barely leave the house. And I, found out I had it Monday. Where are you guys seeing the update? It doesn't... It's sometimes a pain in the absolute ass to find. Sometimes they put it in their Discord. They're very inconsistent. There it is. It's in announcements. Sometimes it pops up very late on Steam. Sometimes they put it in their announcements. Sometimes they don't. So I've got it now. I'm going to do a quick record for the release, for the update video, and then continue on from there. So I'll read it out to you guys as though it was an update video, and then I'll fix that later. Okay. And welcome back to the weekly update video. This is version 1.9.5 hotfix and improving quality of releases. Dear Stormworkers, last week's new space DLC had major... Jesus Christ. Dear Stormworkers, last week, apostrophe S. Last week's new space DLC and major update released. The player creations and adventures across space are incredible, from new rockets, satellites, and space stations to lunar bases and rovers. The space race is real, with many players clearly building for hundreds of hours before the new launch, in preparation to be the best prepared. Congratulations to the many players with incredible new creations in the workshop. It's really inspiring. This week, we have an additional hotfix that addresses many important issues. Please see patch notes below for a full list of fixes. These changes included some very important fixes concerning cargo missions, weight of fluids, and vanishing vehicles. We are still working on a bunch of fluid and steam issues where we are improving the system to behave more like the old version, and we'll get these improvements released soon. As previously discussed, there were issues in the first day or so of the update. The main issue was that there was a change to gravity that affected many existing ships. We fixed this issue within a day, but we accept that it was very concerning to many players who felt like hundreds of hours they have invested into building these creations was at risk of being lost. We worked very hard to get the issues resolved as quickly as possible, with a fix live within 18 hours. However, it wasn't great that players had to deal with these concerns for any amount of time. Let us discuss how we can stop the same problem in the future. Unit tests. We're planning a new unit test system in Stormworks. Unit testing is a common technique in software to write a computer programs to verify if some code produces the expected output. In Stormworks, we plan to add new data logging component that we can add to vehicles to record a number or on-off value. Then when our build server creates a new release, it can run Stormworks, spawn the unit test vehicles, and record the outputs of all these logged values, and compare them to previous release. This will allow us to test more vehicle behavior. Any value in the logic system can be checked, for example. We can test buoyancy by logging the height of each corner of the ship with an altitude sensor. We can also be notified as soon as something changes. Release checklist. Simply having a written procedure of things to check before releasing a final build will ensure that we can check at least a few common ways that players play Stormworks. With the space update for the last few weeks before release, all our testing was focused on stuff between the launch pad and the moon. It is so easy to lose track of the bigger context when you're looking at a specific update, but having a written procedure to follow makes it much harder to be distracted. The kind of stuff for the checklist will probably be testing some of the most popular workshop vehicles, testing the tutorial, playing a mission in multiplayer, etc. Steam Beta Branch. Many players have suggested player testing with a beta branch on Steam, and we will consider it. However, when we have tried this before, there was an issue where many players played experimental branch because they didn't want to wait for the release date. This created huge friction with the community because some didn't want us to actually experiment and make changes based on player feedback while they were trying to build something with the experimental components. With public branch, players decided to use is beyond our control, but we're looking at ways in which we can get this to work better. Limitations. Stormworks is over 100 megabytes of code and contains over 600 components. There is at least 200 million ways to place two components next to each other. It is not possible to test everything every 2 weeks. The above can certainly avoid a lot of problems in the future, but what else do you think we should do? Community. As with many other sandbox games, Stormworks is highly dependent on user-generated content. On the Steam Workshop, our player has... Jesus, if I could read today, that would be awesome. Our player has close to the number of creations as this is not a sentence. Our players has close to the number of creations as the huge communities of more popular sandbox games. That sentence is not my fault. This also includes player-to-player help and communication that we often see on our Discord server, forums, Steam guides, public wikis, and especially video tutorials and any other videos and streams on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. We are endlessly grateful for all the players who kept supporting the game and other players. Much love, Stormworks developers. Version 1.9.5 fixed. Solid rocket booster fuel amount slider now works for small nozzles. Cargo mission script fixed to function correctly. Mission vehicles sometimes teleported incorrectly, which was causing other vehicles to vanish. Restored old equation for weight of fluid in a compartment. Very nice. Split. Get vehicle data function loaded vehicle data to get vehicle components. All right, let's check the screenshots here. And the first screenshot is by... That sentence was absolutely abysmal. Jesus Christ, I do it too, but it's like, oh my God, I was having some struggles with that sentence. Let us see, where are you at there, guy? Oh, there's wine. Oh, look at that. I got some Hardee's. Boo! Makes me blush. Let's see. There's the LNG tanker from Igor. I thought that must be Igor. I like Igor's builds. They're fun. Big old shippies Igor makes. So this is how you find these. You know, if you ever read the comments below the weekly updates, it is what that build. Somebody will, you know, Phil does a great job. Phil, one of the community members every week, he's like in the top 5. He's within the first 5 comments, meaning he watches and waits for the update to come out. And then he says where all, you know, Not only does he have like he does like a Steam wiki showing you it links you to people's builds so you can see if they're released or not. So he'll link your workshop page, but he will say who they're by, and then like literally 3 comments down, you'll have somebody says, "What first build?" And it's like, dude, just literally read up 3, and it's like they usually get like mostly get like 12 pages of comments. It's like, dude, just read. Somebody probably says it. And then like 3 comments from that, you'll have somebody say it again. LR Raptor. Nope, never mind. Fuck you. Reading stuff today. Master Industries, Master Player. Okay. That's the first one. You find the sucker. And the next screenshot is by. I did see this one, so I might be able to find this one reasonably quickly here. This one was towards the bottom, I think. I saw this one. A lot of people have asked why they don't share who made the vehicle, because you don't need to have made the vehicle to put up a screenshot. And it says right here, vehicle showcase for creations made in Stormworks. Images, messages only. Images may be used in announcements. So that's, you get people sometimes there are some people who get on this hobby horse of, they're stealing your artwork. No, they're not. You put them in a public forum. When you put something out in the public, like for example, if you stand out in the public, somebody can take your picture. That is not stealing your likeness. And if you put your picture in a public forum, plus if you read the end user license agreement, for example, Farming Sim, for example, if you completely make a model in Farming Sim, it belongs to Giants because you made it in their editor, and that's in the end user license agreement. And the whole reason is so that they don't get sued by a user. That's the whole reason they do it. So there's no legal case there. Billy, Blidge 123. I love it. I love those names. Those are really easy to say. Let's see. That I saw this one. So. And the next screenshot is by. I saw this one. It was down here. It was down here. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Yeah, so I think they were working on some of these bug fixes late because, like I said, this is now, it's 11 minutes past 8 p.m. for them. So they're working late on a Friday, and they were working all this weekend, so I think people need to take that into consideration too. STS 420 average mat. Okay. And let's do the next one. And the next screenshot is by. I saw Igor. Where's Igor? Stop that. Let's see. Igor F73. All right, good. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye. All right, good. So that is recorded. I'll just put that together really quick, guys. I can't see any patch notes. They're right here. Those are the patch notes. Solid rocket booster fuel amount slider now works for small nozzles. Cargo mission script fixed to function correctly. Mission vehicles sometimes teleport incorrectly, which causing other vehicles to vanish. Restored old equation for weight and fluid in a compartment. This is potentially one of the issues people were having with their ships. A big problem with some of the ships was, people are saying, oh, my ship is, even after the fix, my ship still is not sitting properly. That if you had, say, fuel tanks and the weight was too much in the fluid, it would then, of course, float incorrectly. This is why, I was cautioning people, don't completely rebuild, especially your big builds. Wait until this stuff gets fixed because, until you know what it's going to be like, you could get very frustrated fixing, essentially, if I told you the game's going to change for a week, are you going to rebuild all your builds for a week? You'd say, no, I'll just wait. And so kind of think of that way. So I think this is probably going to fix some of those ship issues if I were to guess. Yeah. You know, that seems obvious, and of course, and like I dare not go in the discussions. It's probably absolute dumpster fire in there, but the you know, some of that stuff, it's proper procedure. Like for me, checklists are very important. I'm used to checklists. Why wouldn't you use a checklist? If you start to put it in the context as well as it's a four-person team, you start to realize they just don't have the time, the resources for some of that stuff, and it sucks, but that's just kind of the way it is. So I'll edit this video really quick. Some people have done this before, some people found it interesting. Where is it? Right there. Okay. So I'll do a quick edit of this video. I try to get this out before I go live, and that doesn't always work. So DaVinci, if you've ever used DaVinci, DaVinci is absolutely CPU crazy. So. And welcome back to the weekly update video. This is version 1.9. Okay, let's get the zoom in. There we go. And welcome back to the weekly update video. This is version 1.9, 0.5 hotfix, and improving quality of releases. Quality of releases. I'll get back to building. I just need a break from that. That was burning my brain out, and I need to try to get this update out in a timely fashion. Some people find it interesting to see how it's done. Because last week's new space DLC had major... Jesus Christ. Dear Stormworks...
See, I try not to do
last
that.
week's new space DLC had made...
I try not to do the Jesus Christ and all that because then I have to cut them out. Welcome to my world.
Jesus Christ. Dear Stormworkers, last week...
There we go.
Dear...
I really try not to do that because it takes me friggin' so much longer to do it.
Last week's new space DLC had major... of releases. Dear Stormworkers...
This one here. Put in a zoom.
Yeah, I try to do one cut if I can. It just makes it such a pain if I don't. Quality of releases. Dear Stormworkers, last week, apostrophe S. Last week's new space DLC.
My grammar corrections are always great.
Quality of releases. Dear Stormworkers, last week's.
I try to omit my grammar corrections.
Last week, apostrophe S. Last week's new space DLC, apostrophe S.
This just makes the editing so much harder.
Week's releases. Dear Stormworkers.
Here, we'll take my editorial comment out.
Releases. Dear Stormworkers, last week's new space DLC and major update released. The player creations and adventures across space are incredible, from new rockets, satellites, and space stations to lunar bases and rovers. The space race is real, with many players clearly building for hundreds of hours before the new launch, in preparation to be the best prepared. Congratulations to the many players with incredible new creations in the workshop. It's really inspiring. This week, we have an additional hotfix that addresses many important issues. Please see patch notes below for a full list of fixes. These changes included some very important fixes concerning cargo missions, weight of fluids, and vanishing vehicles. We're still working on a bunch of fluid and steam issues where we are improving the system.
It's tough reading it out loud,
like
especially
the old
when
version, and we'll get these improvements
it's a little wonky.
soon. Like when I see when I get the grammar issue too, it stops me dead in my tracks. I'm like, that's not right. My brain can't just be like, okay, just read it. It's like, no, I can't read that. That doesn't make sense. And we'll get these improvements released soon. Okay, let's do. and we'll get these improvements released soon. As previously discussed, there were issues in the first day or so of the update. The main issue was that there was a change to gravity that affected many existing ships. We fixed this issue within a day, but we accept that it was very concerning to many players who felt like hundreds of hours they have invested into building these creation was at risk of being lost. We worked very hard to get the issues resolved as quickly as possible, with a fix live within 18 hours. However, it wasn't great that players had to deal with these concerns for any amount of time. Let us discuss how we can stop the same problem in the future. Unit tests. We're planning a new unit test system in Stormworks. Unit testing is a common technique in software to write a computer programs to verify if some code produces the expected output. In Stormworks, we plan to add new data logging component that we can add to vehicles to record a number or on record a number or on-off value, a number or money number or vehicles to record a number or on-off value. Then when our build server creates a new release, it can run Stormworks, spawn the unit test vehicles, and record the outputs of all these logged values, and compare them to previous release. This will allow us to test more vehicle behavior. Any value in the logic system can be checked, for example. We can test buoyancy by logging the height of each corner of the ship with an altitude sensor. We can also be notified as soon as something changes. Release altitude sensor. We can also be notified as soon as something changes. Checklist. Simply having release checklist. Simply having a written procedure changes. Release. We can also be notified as soon as something changes.
I screwed something up here. I gotta fix.
Puts of all these logged values and compare them to previous release. This will allow us to test more vehicle behavior. Any value in the logic system can be checked, for example. We can test buoyancy by logging the height of each corner of the ship with an altitude sensor. We can also be notified as soon as something changes. Release checklist. Simply have something changes. Release checklist. Simply changes. Release checklist. Simply having a written procedure of things to check before releasing a final build will ensure that we can check at least a few common ways that players play Stormworks. With the space update for the last few weeks before release, all our testing was focused on stuff between the launch pad and the moon. Yeah, that makes sense to me that they seemed time crunched, and so it made sense that they were spending all their time working on the final components. And if you broke something, like for example, they're working on flying from the Earth to the moon, okay? They see there's a problem with spaceships and gravity. Let's say that the spaceship is too efficient and it's too easy to get to the moon. So what do? They increase the gravity, make it harder. Well, then they don't go back and they don't test how does this increase in gravity affect everything else. And so, well, that's not right, from an actual physics standpoint, ruining other parts of the game. You can understand that if you're pressed for time and you're trying to test the last couple things, you forget to go back and see, okay, I made a change here. How does it affect everything else? And so, while it sucks that it happened, I think it's understandable. They changed the gravity value because they were going from the Earth to the moon. Makes sense. Change the gravity value, but you then say, oh crap, I didn't think that changing that gravity value now screws up a bunch of ships. And so it's an understandable human mistake that people were freaking the hell out about. And I think it's good that they explain this stuff by coming back and telling us, no, it wasn't this, or this. It was a gravity issue. We were testing from Earth to the moon, and because we're mainly testing the Earth to the moon because we were pressed for time. I I would bring it more to a human level. I think that's one of the issues that the development team doesn't like to do. A lot of businesses don't like to do this. Bring it to the human level and say, hey guys, we're really pressed for time. It's not an excuse, it's just an explanation why. And because we were super pressed for time, we were testing mainly stuff from the Earth to the Moon. And because we were testing from the Earth to the Moon, we made a change to gravity and we didn't think or go back to test how that would affect other things. And what that ended up doing was it made ships broken. That's how it got out to you guys in what seemed like a broken state, was because for us, we were testing one type of build, spaceships, and then that broke a bunch of other stuff. Of course, we should have gone back and test. In the future, we're going to be going back and testing the whole game before we release. That sort of thing, it explains people, and you go like, oh yeah, I've made silly mistakes like that, you know? Cat in the Moon. It is so easy to lose track of the bigger context when you're looking at a specific update, but having a written procedure to follow makes it much harder to... Is my CPU going to crash? There we go. Stand by, guys. My computer's crashing. Okay, Stormworks crashed. Something just crashed. Stormworks completely just crashed out because likely CPU issue. DaVinci used an absolute buttload of CPU. So, you guys still stand? Oh, fuck. What's going on with my PC here? Can you guys put something in the chat? My computer's frozen up. All right, guys. Can you just send a couple messages in chat? It completely DaVinci crashed out my whole computer, or crashed out a big part of my computer. Just want to make sure chat's working. It locked up. It was actually Google, I think, crashed the my pages. So just sorry, I didn't mean to say bye. I meant to say hello. Okay, good. Didn't mean bye. Sorry, guys. My what do you call it? Chrome completely crashed, so I couldn't tell what was going on with that. So DaVinci uses like an absolute insane amount of CPU, so it locks the CPU down. So that was probably that issue there. Are you guys good? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Just a couple in chat for me. I appreciate that. My game crashed, and then Chrome completely locked up, and DaVinci crashed as well. So had a bunch of stuff crash. I'm just trying to see what's running. You guys good? Can you guys all see me? See what's going on here? Did I lose the edit? No, I didn't. Okay, good. So I'll finish editing here. Thanks, guys. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff crashed, so stuff between the launch pad and the moon. It is so easy to lose track of the bigger context when you're looking at a specific update, but having a written procedure to follow makes it much harder to be distracted. The kind of follow makes it much harder to be distracted. Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, DaVinci crashed. DaVinci used an absolute insane amount of CPU, so like it's literally like right now it's not bad because I have the replay at like low, but see it's at a quarter. If I go playback to full, it will absolutely decimate the PC. The kind of stuff for the checklist will probably be testing some of the most popular workshop vehicles,
Like, see,
testing
we're
the
up to
tutorial,
50%,
playing a mission,
and it will
in
go to
multiplayer,
100, no
etc.
problem.
Steam beta will probably be testing some of the, but having a written procedure to follow makes it much harder to be distracted. Okay. I'll just finish up this edit. I just want to get this out. The kind of stuff for the checklist will probably be testing some of the most popular workshop vehicles, testing the tutorial, playing a mission in multiplayer, etc. Multiplayer, etc. Steam beta branch. Many players have suggested player testing with a beta branch on Steam, and we will consider it. However, when we have tried this before, there was an issue where many players played experimental branch because they didn't want to wait for the release date. This created huge friction with the community because some didn't want us to actually experiment and make changes based on player feedback while they were trying to build something with the experimental components. Yeah, that's a problem, but I think the devs I think it's a good cover your ass thing. So what the devs are talking about is they had an experimental branch before, and the problem is this. Ooh, cool new parts are coming. I want cool new parts. I don't want to wait for cool new parts. So instead of going into the experimental branch and testing and helping move forward and putting some good feedback, I'm going to use the new parts, and then I'm going to get pissed off when they need to make changes. And that was, so they're explaining why they got rid of experimental branch, because people were annoyed that they were building to the experiment and then they wanted to keep what was in the experiment, and that, I think the devs just need to be like, hey, they need to put a disclaimer up. If you're in experimental branches, things will and can change. Builds can and will break. This is for testing. If you do not want your builds to break in the experiments, then you need to go to the stable branch and wait for the parts. Be very open, honest, and blunt about that. And I think just ignore those people complaining, because it's like, you're in an experimental branch that will change. So it seems like, they don't want to break anybody's builds. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here. But people are just not using experimental branch properly, and they're listening to that. They're trying to be compassionate towards that. Components. With public branch, players decided to use is beyond our control, but we're looking at ways in which we can get this to work better. So that makes sense. It's good that they explain that, because people were saying, oh, it's obvious, just go back to experimental branch. And they're explaining why they made that decision, whether or not it was the right decision, with the experimental components. With public branch, players decided to use is beyond our control, but we're looking at ways in which we can get this to work better. Limitations. Stormworks work better. Okay. Stormworks is over 100 megabytes of code and contains over 600 components. There is at least 200 million ways to place two components next to each other. It is not possible to test components next to each other. Get rid of that long inhale. So I'm just going to edit for a couple more minutes, and then this video will be ready to process. It is not possible to test everything every 2 weeks. The above can certainly avoid a lot of problems in the future, but what else do you think we should do? Community. As we should do. Community. Yes, I think they're addressing this correctly. I think it's always important to explain why you made the choices you made, and they're doing a good job explaining that. They're saying, people are like, oh, it's obvious, just go back to experimental branch. But they're having problems with experimental branch. People were giving them flack, and so they were being receptive to those people, so it makes sense why they did what they did. Community. As with many other sandbox games, Stormworks is highly dependent on user-generated content. Stormworks is highly dependent on user-generated content. Stormworks is highly dependent on highly dependent on user-generated content. On the Steam Workshop, our player has... Is this the one that was the bad sentence that didn't make any sense to me? That I need to cut out. Workshop, our player has... Jesus, if I could read today, that'd be awesome. Workshop, our
Here's
player
my commentary.
has... Jesus, if I could read today, that'd be awesome. Our player has close to the number of creations as... Close to the number of creations as... This is not a sentence. Our players... There we go. I'm going to put the sarcastic-ass sentence in there. For me having to read that sentence. Steam Workshop, our player... They're going to get this sarcastic-ass sentence for that sentence being a mess. Steam Workshop, our players has close to the number of creations as the huge communities of more popular sandbox games. They're going to get the shade sentence for that one little typo. Sandbox games. That sentence is not my fault. This also includes...
I'm going to leave that in.
It's not my fault.
It tickles me. It does. We'll throw a little shade in there. There we'll go.
As the huge communities of more popular sandbox games. That sentence is not my fault. This also includes player-to-player help and communication that we often see on our Discord server, forums, Steam guides, public wikis, and especially video tutorials and any other videos and streams on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. Streams on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord.
That sentence is gold. I love it.
YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. We are endlessly grateful for all the players who kept supporting the game and other players. Much love, Stormworks developers. Version 1.9.5 Stormworks developers. All right, let's find this. This is the patch notes. There we go. Version 1.9.5 fix solid rocket booster fuel amount slider now works for small nozzles. Cargo mission script fixed to function correctly. Mission vehicles sometimes teleported incorrectly, which was causing other vehicles
weekly
to vanish.
grammar update.
Restored old equation for weight of fluid in a compartment. Very nice. Split get vehicle data function loaded vehicle data to get vehicle components. Okay. And the first screenshot is by... These are a pain in the ass to get lined up. So I need to line all these up. There we go. This is going to get reanalyzed there. Oh, this one I screw up too. I have to say the wrong guy's name at first. I gotta fix that. The more mistakes I make, the longer it takes to edit, of course. So I like to show these every once in a while. Some people find it interesting to see how the editing goes on. A raptor. Nope, never mind. Fuck you. The random fuck you I throw in there is always... I have to cut all that out. It's tiresome, my own behavior. Master Industries, Master Player. I do that all the time, and it's just like, oh my god, now I have to cut that out because I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. It's quite tiresome. I am tiresome to myself, let's put it that way. There we go. Next screenshot is by... Billy. I make extra work for myself. Every time I make a video, it's like, that needs to be cut out. That's not appropriate. Next screenshot is by Billy. Blidge 123. And I screwed up the cut on that one. Screwed up the cut on that one. Blidge 3. Some of these names are quite interesting, though. Let's just here. Let's do CZ. All right, let's find 1, 2, 3. I'll fix that cut. Good enough. There we go. Shot is by Billy. Blidge 1, 2, 3. And the next candidate. Next screenshot is by S420 average Matt. And the next screenshot is by. That's the Igor one. Igors are usually pretty large too, composition. Yeah, I really like Igor's stuff. Is cool. He makes some really cool ships. Screenshot is by. Igor F73. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye. '73. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye. All right, good. So that's pretty much done. How's it going there, Citrus? What's happening? Yeah, the weekly grammar update. I think they run GMT time. I think they're somewhere in Great Britain. I'll run this in the background. We'll quickly work on a thumb for this, and then we can get getting back to the game. I need to. I moved all of this, so of course that's going to run like crap now. DaVinci, like I said, it uses absolutely insane amounts of CPU. And welcome back to the weekly update video. This is version 1.9.5 hotfix and improving quality of releases. Dear Stormworkers, last week's new space DLC and major update released. The player creations and adventures across space are incredible, from new rockets, satellites, and space stations to lunar bases and rovers. The space race is real, with many players clearly building for hundreds of hours before the new launch, in preparation to be the best prepared. Congratulations to the many players with incredible new creations in the workshop. It's really inspiring. This week, we have an additional hotfix that addresses many important issues. Please see patch notes below for a full list of fixes. These changes included some very important fixes concerning cargo missions, weight of fluids, and vanishing vehicles. We are still working on a bunch of fluid and steam issues where we are improving the system to behave more like the old version, and we'll get these improvements released soon. As previously discussed, there were issues in the first day or so of the update. The main issue was that there was a change to gravity that affected many existing ships. We fixed this issue within a day, but we accept that it was very concerning to many players who felt like hundreds of hours they have invested into building these creation was at risk of being lost. We worked very hard to get the issues resolved as quickly as possible, with a fix live within 18 hours. However, it wasn't great that players had to deal with these concerns for any amount of time. Let us discuss how we can stop the same problem in the future. Unit tests. We're planning a new unit test system in Stormworks. Unit testing is a common technique in software to write a computer programs to verify if some code produces the output. In Stormworks, we plan to add new data logging component that we can add to vehicles to record a number or on-off value. Then, when our build server creates a new release, it can run Stormworks, spawn the unit test vehicles, and record the outputs of all these logged values, and compare them to previous release. This will allow us to test more vehicle behavior. Any value in the logic system can be checked, for example. We can test buoyancy. I gotta do a test, guys. Apparently, this is not capturing correctly. OBS is being a pain in the ass. Can you guys put a message in the chat there if you can see the game, because it's currently being obnoxious. It's not showing the right stuff. So you guys might be stuck on OBS. Is it showing the game? Okay, all right. Yeah, so it's just showing OBS is bugged for me. I'll have to deal with that. But here, let me. I'll ask again. Can you guys see the paint program? Just a quick message when you can on the paint program. Okay, good. Thanks. Yeah, OBS is showing me old stuff, so hopefully it refreshes eventually. It's being obnoxious because I can't tell what you guys can see, so I gotta ask. All right, so we'll quickly make this thumbnail. I just want to get this out. I try to get this out before the video, and sometimes it is not the easiest. Sometimes they don't put it out. It seems like they worked late today trying to get that done, which is, I'm glad. And they definitely get points in my book. They worked all week. They worked the weekend. They worked that. They realized that there were issues, and it seems like they're trying to remedy it. Okay. And so let's finish up doing some of this, and then I'll move on to building again. I'm just trying to get this weekly update out because everything takes time to process, so get that going. Because if I don't do it, it's not going to get done until late. And so I try to get it out reasonable fashion, reasonably quickly. Don't do that. Go there, please. Thank you. See what OBS is doing. Yeah, OBS still hasn't caught up. Hopefully OBS chooses to catch up. Because I can just keep checking in with you guys, see what you see, make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Something with that crash. It was a PC issue. It wasn't anything else, I don't think. Because I'm running, like I said, OBS takes up absolute insane amounts of everything. So, let's not do that, please. Keep it nice here. There we go. All right, what else do we have for picks here? I think Igor, and then we're done there on that, and I can get this thumbnail out. Don't rotate it, please. Thank you. This is like the bane of my existence, trying to get these like in a pleasing position on these. Oh, God, come on, come on, come on. Don't do the whole layer, you scum. Let's not, okay. Trying to wrap this up so I can get back to building, but need a little break from the RCS. My brain's not working enough to be screwing with that right now. And not quite sure how I want it to be, I want it to operate yet. So once I'm gonna figure out how I want that to operate. I'm gonna probably do a switch button. I may also do it just on the dash. So, and what was the title of this week's update here? Let's see. It was hotfix and improving quality releases. Oh, you made it a long one today there, devs, huh? Make it tough for me. All right. Let's do that. I can, I'll re-editorialize this. Hot fixes. And, let's see, what the hell did they call it again? Improving quality releases. All right, improving quality releases. I want to editorialize. They just want me to have to fill in all these letters. That's what they're trying to do. They see what I do and they try to make it harder. There we go. All right, good. Will not editorialize. I will just friggin' put it in there. Make it quicker for myself here. And then we can go back to building some. That spacecraft's starting to get complicated. I was really not looking forward to doing a complicated build again. I am enjoying it, but it's like I really love building the exterior of it and getting the shape going and some of the mechanics. I'm like, oh my god, I got to do the cockpit again. And it's such a different system. It's not like I can grab microcontrollers from a bunch of other builds. I'm kind of screwed in how I have to do it. You need to move or else you're going to be ugly as sin. Where is it? Right there. That's out of line with this one. There we go. Let's line that up. That's better. All right. Let's save this, and then I should be able to get that process in and hopefully get it out on the stuff. So, where are we at here? Weekly updates. What's today's date? 10/20. Already. All right, so let's get back in the game here. I'm going to start processing that. Read a little of this chat. Hello, Citrus. How are you? Okay. Yeah, I don't. See, the problem is I don't think I can reboot OBS without dropping the stream, and I don't want to do that. So, as long as it can still let me change windows, I'll just ask you guys. I'm overloading it. I literally have a game open. I have OBS running. I have DaVinci. I had 20 instances of Chrome going. I have Paint open. I have Discord open. So just overloading everything. It's been snowing. Gross. Snowed here yesterday. Ugh. Yeah, no thank you. I'm not ready for snow yet. No thank you. No, gracias. Did I finish this? I didn't. All right. By logging the height of... Sorry, guys. I'm just going to let that play in the background as I build a little bit. We can also be notified as soon as something changes. Release checklist. Simply having a written procedure of things to check before releasing a final build will ensure that we can check at least a few common ways that players play Stormworks. With the space update for the last few weeks before release, all our testing was focused on stuff between the launch pad and the moon. It is so easy to lose track of the bigger context when you're looking at a specific update, but having a written procedure to follow makes it much harder to be distracted. The kind of stuff for the checklist will probably be testing some of the most popular workshop vehicles, testing the tutorial, playing a mission in multiplayer, etc. Steam Beta Branch. Many players have suggested player testing with a beta branch on Steam, and we will consider it. However, when we have tried this before, there was an issue where many players played experimental branch because they didn't want to wait for the release date. This created huge friction with the community because some didn't want us to actually experiment and make changes based on player feedback while they were trying to build something with the experimental components. With public branch, players decided to use is beyond our control, but we're looking at ways in which we can get this to work better. Limitations. Stormworks is over 100 megabytes of code and contains over 600 components. There is at least 200 million ways to place two components next to each other. It is not possible to test everything every 2 weeks. The above can certainly avoid a lot of problems in the future, but what else do you think we should do? Community. As with many other sandbox games, Stormworks is highly dependent on user-generated content. On the Steam Workshop, our players has close to the number of creations as the huge communities of more popular sandbox games. That sentence is not my fault. This also includes player-to-player help and communication that we often see on our Discord server, forums, Steam guides, public wikis, and especially video tutorials and any other videos and streams on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. We are endlessly grateful for all the players who kept supporting the game and other players. Much love, Stormworks developers. Version 1.9.5 fixed. Solid rocket booster fuel amount slider now works for small nozzles. Cargo mission script fixed to function correctly. Mission vehicles sometimes teleported incorrectly, which was causing other vehicles to vanish. Restored old equation for weight of fluid in a compartment. Very nice. Split. Get vehicle data function loaded vehicle data to get vehicle components. And the first screenshot is by Master Industries Master Player. And the next screenshot is by Billy Blidge123. And the next screenshot is by STS420 Average Matt. And the next screenshot is by Igor F73. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye. All right, good. So that is done. Let me I'm going to quickly export that for TikTok. Please don't crash the whole computer, you devil. Let's see. Weekly update. TikTok. Okay, and then the other one's for YouTube. I need to add the credit screen on there. So, all right. So we have a seal in here. I need to test the seals in the doors. So I need to make sure these are sealing properly. So here's my seal, and I'm just gonna put a toggle button. This was having an issue on Triton. We'll see how I have to fix these on Triton, but. There's the lock, the seal state. We'll just do a light. But I did the shock cones. So the way I worked the shock cones was essentially the barometer will read from 1 at essentially sea level, and I assume it's going to read up to 0. Maybe it'll go -1. I don't know. I have to look. But I essentially just inverted it. So what's going to happen is the shock cones will be all the way back when we're at sea level, and then as we go higher and out, as we lose pressure, let's put it that way, the shock cones are going to come out. That's what, it'd be more on speed, but then I have to convert it and everything else, so I'm just going to do it off barometer. I think that's an easy way to do it. It will give the desired effect. So we are sealed, which is gorgeous, and I can break the seal, even though the door is supposed to be... Okay, I'm locked now. All right, good, we're locked. Okay, good. That's interesting. Even though I can pull a gap on it, it still doesn't break the seal. Good. So that's working. Lovely. Okay, good. So that one's good. That door has a seal. Beautiful. This door here, this is, so this kind of a, it's confusing because I have to change the, so like this is if we were walking through it in gravity. We have cockpit, we have crew area, we have an airlock, and then we go and we change the orientation. This is not going to go to the moon anymore, so I might change this room up. It's not really all that bad. I'll just put an attachment point here on the floor. But I'm trying to decide if I want to attach here or I want to attach in there. What I'm going to do is take colors from the shuttle bay, the cargo shuttle bay, and stick them in there. So I'm just going to quickly do a version export for YouTube. Let's see. Weekly up. I put them in my Tarkov folder for some reason. All right, I'll move those. And so this I have to worry about in here, but that's when it kind of changes orientation. It's a pain when it's on the pad to get this to work right. So let's see. I'm trying to see where we're at here. So that is the door. This needs to be the door frame. It needs to go right here. So symmetry's off. I want to cut you and you. All right, so right there. And we need to put in a door seal on this. So it seals the door. If you noticed, it was sealing the door and giving me a sealed state without having a lock. So that would actually work without a lock, which is interesting. Do I dare try it without a lock? No, I do not. So yeah, so it looks like you can seal these doors up without the lock. Again, I don't trust it for that, but let's see. Which direction do you have to go? You have to go internal. Okay. So like right there. Okay, beautiful. All right, so there's my new door seal for the... so this is the door to go outside, so that will go in there. Nice. All right, I need to make some complex controllers, and so this airlock is going to need a pump out system, English language, pump in, pump out system. So I have two small tanks here. These are going to be filled with air, And I have a pump in and a pump to reduce the pressure in the room, a pump to increase the pressure in the room. So pretty simple. When I pump out the room, it's going to suck all of the gas out and put it into the tanks when it is and then when I want to reseal, when I want to refill the atmosphere, this pump is going to pump the air back into the room. And so essentially what it's going to do is I need to read the barometer. I think we do with barometers, they seem to be the most cut and dry. And because if I do it by quantity, we get that problem where it goes to like 10 decimal places or something, 38 decimal places, I think they said below zero. So that's really super duper obnoxious. So I don't want to go 38 decimal places. I really do not. And so what I'm going to do is instead of doing that, I'm just going to do barometer. So if it's less than a certain value in the barometer, I can then change the state of the room. So I need to figure out all that as well. I'm just quickly trying to get the weekly update stuff start to upload on the YouTubes because that takes a little while as well. All right, there we go. Let's start. I'll start getting this put on. Start getting this put on the YouTubes because they were late today on that. So, all right, let that load. Let me see. How much RAM do you have? 32 gigs. That 32 gigs? I think I have 32. That's perf. Yeah, 32 gigs. All right, so that will seal that. So that's how the airlock system is going to work. I'll have to test them out, but so let's do this. Let's grab. I can test this from in here. So let's go ahead and I want to do a barometer. I think a barometer is going to be the best barometer. Let's put a barometer in here. All right, and so I'll do a couple dials. I'll play with this. We'll start getting this working here. All right, so this is going to be airlock. This is going to be airlock, payload bay. All right, so that's the two barometers. Do a couple toggles. All right, so I just want to play with this. So I'm going to first play with the airlock room. So we have, this is pump out the room. I'm lost again where I am. The hell am I? Okay, that's pump out the room there. I can't see what I'm clicking on here. Oh my God, where did I just, like, I literally just plugged it in. I can't see where the hell I am. There we go. Oh, it's up here. Okay. And then this will be pump in the room. All right, and we'll give it a quick run. So essentially what's going to happen is I want to make it, I essentially want two buttons. I want to make it so it's pretty simple. I want to equalize either with the crew compartment or I want to equalize with the payload bay. So let's say the payload bay is closed and it has air in here. What I'll be able to do is as long as the differential is small, the doors will remain unlocked. So I'll be able to walk straight from the crew quarters right through the airlock into here. As soon as one of them has a high enough differential, the doors will shut and lock. So let's say the crew compartment is at full 100% pressure. It's at normal atmospheric pressure, and I go into the airlock is at vacuum. So I'll press a button to equalize between the crew compartment and the airlock. The airlock will then make sure both doors are shut. It will lock the doors. Because the crew compartment is, has pressure, it will pressurize the airlock. Then it will unlock the door, and I'll be able to go into the airlock. If this is also at normal atmospheric pressure, this door will also be unlocked. I can walk right through. So, right through. As soon as any of these have an issue where there's a pressure differential, bing, all the doors close in the airlock, they lock. And so, let's say, okay, I equalize with the crew compartment, I go into the airlock, and this is at vacuum. Then I press a button. I want to equalize. So it's gonna. I can do two things. I can equalize to the payload bay. What that would do is that would, since the payload bay is at vacuum, that would vacuum out the airlock. Now I can walk from in here there. So let's say the payload door is open and we're actively unloading. So I would go ahead and I would equalize to the payload bay, which would mean that this would be at vacuum. Now this door will open and I can go in here because we're both in vacuum. And then let's say I want to go back in crew compartment. I have to go in. This would be equalized still. Shut the door, and I press the button to equalize to the crew compartment. The door is going to shut, lock. It's then going to pump the air back into the airlock. It's going to equalize with the crew, and then that door will be unlocked and open, and I can walk through. And so that will work. So anytime, like if I slam this door open, these doors will auto shut and prevent, a rapid decompression. So let's see. So we're at 0.95 and 0.94. As you can see, they're within a decimal place of each other. And let's go, I forget which side this was. So we'll see in a second. We'll see if it pumps in or out. And I'm not seeing much appreciable change here. Let's see. So that's kind of the thought process, doing it with a barometer. Because that's going to tell me how many atmospheres. That's going to tell me the atmospheric pressure, and that's what I really care about. Let's see. How do I have this hooked up and why I don't know what's going on here. So let's see. We have a pump is going from the air tanks. That is going out of the room. So this is pump out. Let's fix this so I can see what I'm doing here. That is pump out, pump in. So I think let's try to run these. It might be quicker and easier if I pull these two tanks to vacuum. And then I just have these T-pieced so that they can run to both tanks. And I don't know if I'm going to need two tanks or one tank, so we'll test it. But I kind of want to, not super complex, but I kind of want to push button, like be able to say, okay, equalize to this, equalize to that, and let it do it. So let's see where we're at here. 95, 95. Okay, let's pump out the room. So this is okay, so there we go. So that is the airlock is pumping down in pressure. We'll let that pump for a little bit, read some chat. Yeah, it's DaVinci, there's an option on DaVinci, like I can look at it full quality as I'm rewatching the video, or I can decrease the quality. So I just generally decrease the quality. Because like the rewatch I don't really need the full video quality there. Just trying to get the weekly update going here. Want to get that finished and out, so people who rely upon it may watch it. There we go. All right, let's see, 1020. And what was the name of this update for the 5th time? It was hotfix and improving quality of releases. Okay. All right, there we go. That's picked. All right, we're good. Yeah. Try to get that on the old YouTubes. Yeah, so we're currently just pumping out the room, just trying to get that airlock going. I want to do enough testing so that I can get the I can make sure I get all this kind of make sure everything's going to work properly. Then I want to go in and make the controller, because if I can't get it to work the way I want to, I need to rethink how I'm going to do it before I start screwing with the controller. So unfortunately, I'm gonna play that video again in the background. Like I said, I try to get this done before I watch it, but before I start streaming. But I'm just playing this in the background while I'm working here, so make sure there's no errors.
Dear Stormworkers, last week's new
So we're currently at
Did we
The player
stop?
creations and adventures across space
Are those
are
tanks not
incredible,
big enough?
from new rockets, satellites, and space stations
Interesting.
to lunar bases and rovers. The space race is real, with many players clearly building for hundreds of hours before the new launch, in preparation to be
That's
the best
interesting.
prepared. Congratulations to the many players with incredible new creations in the workshop. It's really inspiring. This week, we have an additional hotfix that addresses many important issues. Please see patch notes below for a full list of fixes. These changes included some very important fixes concerning cargo missions, weight of fluids, and vanishing vehicles.
Interesting.
We're still working on a bunch of fluid and steam issues where we are improving the system to behave more like the old version, and we'll get these improvements released soon. As previously discussed, there were issues in the first day or so of the update. The main issue was that there was a change to gravity that affected many existing ships. We fixed this issue within a day, but we accept that it was very concerning to many players who felt like hundreds of hours they have invested into building these creation was at risk of being lost. We worked very hard to get the issues resolved as quickly as possible, with a fix live within 18 hours. However, it wasn't great that players had to deal with these concerns for any amount of time. Let us discuss how we can stop the same problem in the future. Unit tests. We're planning a new unit test system in Stormworks. Unit testing is a common technique in software to write a computer programs to verify if some code produces the expected output. In Stormworks, we plan to add new data logging component that we can add to vehicles to record a number or on-off value. Then, when our build server creates a new release, it can run Stormworks, spawn the unit test vehicles, and record the outputs of all these logged values, and compare them to previous release. This will allow us to test more vehicle behavior. Any value in the logic system can be checked, for example. We can test buoyancy by logging the height of each corner of the ship with an altitude sensor. We can also be notified as soon as something changes. Release checklist. Simply having a written procedure of things to check before releasing a final build will ensure that we can check at least a few common ways that players play Stormworks. With the space update for the last few weeks before release, all our testing was focused on stuff between the launch pad and the moon. It is so easy to lose track of the bigger context when you're looking at a specific update, but having a written procedure to follow
Thanks,
makes
just not
it
big
much
enough.
harder to be distracted. The kind of stuff for the checklist will probably be testing some of the most popular workshop vehicles, testing the tutorial, playing a mission in multiplayer, etc. Steam Beta Branch. Many players have suggested player testing with a beta branch on Steam, and we will consider it. However, when we have tried this before, there was an issue where many players played experimental branch because they didn't want to wait for the release date. This created huge friction with the community because some didn't want us to actually experiment and make changes based on player feedback while they were trying to build something with the experimental components. With public branch, players decided to use is beyond our control, but we're looking at ways in which we can get this to work better. Limitations. Stormworks is over 100 megabytes of code and contains over 600 components. There is at least 200 million ways to place two components next to each other. It is not possible to test everything every 2 weeks. The above can certainly avoid a lot of problems in the future, but what else do you think we should do? Community. As with many other sandbox games, Stormworks is highly dependent on user-generated content. On the Steam Workshop, our players has close to the number of creations as the huge communities of more popular sandbox games. That sentence is not my fault. This also includes player-to-player help and communication that we often see on our Discord server, forums, Steam guides, public wikis, and especially video tutorials and any other videos and streams on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. We are endlessly grateful for all the players who kept supporting the game and other players. Much love, Stormworks developers. Version 1.9.5 fix. Solid rocket booster fuel amount slider now works for small nozzles. Cargo mission script fixed to function correctly. Mission vehicles sometimes teleported incorrectly, which was causing other vehicles to vanish. Restored old equation for weight of fluid in a compartment. Very nice. Split. Get vehicle data function loaded vehicle data to get vehicle components. And the first screenshot is by Master Industries Master Player. And the next screenshot is by Billy Blidge123. And the next screenshot is by STS420 Average Matt. And the next screenshot is by Igor F73. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye. Alright, so that video is checked out. We're good. Let's see. Weekly update video. So this is the
Just gotta keep looping that video 100 times. Okay.
Alright, so what I'm trying to do here is, so it appears these tanks are not big enough because I reached 10 atmospheres and I don't want to pump anymore. Let's see, so I need more headspace in here to be able to pump this out. So I have two options. One, I can try to stick them back in the roof here, which I like, or I can stick them in here So I might stick them in there. I was going to try to do the roof still, but I don't think I can get a big enough tank in there to get that to function properly. So I'm running out of space on tankage here. So yeah, I'm running out of, it was cool to have a compact like this, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get enough tank space in there. Because 2 tanks, once it hit 10 atmospheres, I wasn't able to pump out anymore, and I only dropped, I don't know, like 20%. So let's do this. Let's go back the way it was, and then I'm gonna add some stuff here. We'll see how much it's gonna take to get this to pump out for me. So okay. So try to get as much pumping in and out of here as I can. It's very obnoxious, like the way I have to kind of like turn in here because of the just the orientation of the rocket's off, you know. Let's go. So I'll add a couple medium tanks. I need to put enough in here to pump out. Okay. What is that? Okay. I am completely confused in orientation here. Completely screwed up my orientation here, so let's fix that. That actually is fine the way it was. Yeah, I could put a more powerful pump potentially, but we'll see what I can do. I'm just trying to kind of see where I'm at on this. Not pimp, please. Pump. Don't need a pimp. No, not need a pimp, but I'll try to keep all of my cash myself. Let's see. Go. What are you? You're out. You need to be in then. Okay, out and in. Those are plumbed. And let's try to get some mead tanks in here. Okay, there we go. So I just need to move this one block, and I should be able to hopefully get some medium tanks in here. The tanks are working best because the customs are not working perfectly, so. That can't go there. Okay. Phenomena. You know what? I don't think I need 2 fluid ports. I think it's just screwing me up more. Let's start cutting that out. Okay, let's try this. Trying to keep this on the little bit on the simplified side. All right, so that will be back in, and that'll be out. Okay, good. Those are opposites. Nice. And let us see here. All right, let's grab some medium tanks. Can you guys see Stormworks all right? Just let me know. My OBS is still showing old stuff, so want to make sure you guys can see OBS. That's important. Or not OBS. Can you guys see Steam? Because I can't tell on OBS. Let's Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, because it's again my screen. I can't tell what the hell's going on in my screen. Ooh, this is gonna be a pain, isn't this? It's got to be a pain, huh? They want us to be a pain. Medium tanks are pretty long. Let's. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to have mediums. So, what are you? I forget what this gauge is even for here. Probably that's probably I think a linear speed that I stuck in there. How do you? Okay. How big are the mediums? All right, so that's not gonna fit there anyways. Perfect. All right, that's fine. And then we need to go there, so that will work. All right, good. And then I can fit as many tanks I need in here. The problem is this tells me that the payload bay is going to be an absolute unmitigated disaster trying to pump that sucker out. So that's going to be a nightmare to pump that out. That's going to require a lot of volume or a really powerful pump. Like, I can get up to 100 atmospheres in these tanks, so that helps, but I need a bigger pump, and I'm just like hurting for some space here, so I'm going to run these down to 0, and then I need to just plumb them up identical to the other rooms, so you are going, let's see. That is pump out of the room, so I need to pump out of this room here. That's pumping in the room, that's pumping out, and then the other one will be pump in. All right, let's try that. Now start to get little bit tight on space here. All right, barometers. Where are you at? Barometers, so they're about the same. Pump out. All right, so we were getting stuck around 0.71. We just didn't have the volume, or I didn't have the strength of pump to be able to pump those tanks up. So I'll try some stronger pumps. That's probably going to want to, because I should be able to super pressurize those tanks. I'll do a tank pressure test here in a minute. Because I don't want to vent all this air, especially seeing we're going to be building up carbon dioxide. We're going to need oxygen. I don't want to be building up, I don't want to be venting the air every time I open a door. I want to store it. And the nice thing is, if it's stored, I essentially just put it right back in. So so the tanks are going to be filled with essentially a room's worth of air. And so they're going to pump out a room's worth of air. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll save this, and I'll do some quick tank tests. I want to do some pressure tests anyways, and that will kind of get me in place for... That'll get me in place to see what we're looking at here for how much... If I know how big of a pump I need or how big of a pumping system I need. So I want to try to cram as much air in a small as possible, because that's going to really give me the best space usage. So I want to go... Let's go to fill level 0, and I want to test each pump. Now I want to see what atmospheres I can get to before I can't go anymore. Okay. You know, and it's going to be, electrical production is going to be tough. Like I could see, like I don't even have generators on my jet turbines. So I'm going to have to I'm going to have to work a lot on solar, you know, and use solar quite a bit to try to do stuff. So we'll see how that works. So just going to be pressurizing all these tanks, see how high I can get them. And then I can move on from there. All right. Here's an imp. Because I want to try to keep it as compact as possible. All right, so let's give this a quick shot here. I think that needs to be plugged, and then I think we're good. All right, so we have large here. So let's see. We're currently at essentially 0 atmosphere. Let's bang it on. So I think, what did we hit on the other one? We didn't hit very high. So this one, I'm quickly up over 100 atmospheres. We should probably, this is going to be, we might be able to get away with a large pump and do some of this. All right, so we're pretty much about, okay, there we go. 100 atmospheres on this one. This one's pretty weak. I think it was 10 atmospheres I was starting to cap out around in the ship, and that's what it looks like it's starting. And we're really getting the low decimal places here. Yep. These impellers, you have to be careful of. This isn't going to work. I need to fix these impellers. The impellers leak. The impellers, the air can get through them. So what we want to do is go... I need to do this or else these are going to leak. So let's see. 1, 2. I wonder if somebody was saying that. So put one-ways on these. And that way the air can't come back out. So it looks like 100 atmospheres on the largems. It's coming up on 100. That's already capped at 10. This one's working. This is a small motor, so we'll see. I only put a small motor on there. The reason the small motor's on there is one, space, two, the fact that I'm not gonna be able to afford the electricity for some of this stuff. Like these small pumps are the better way. So it looks like large is gonna be better to run at. Like, yeah, definitely it looks like I can probably do the best space-wise with large. Like, these are taking forever, and they're probably eating up an absolute insane amount of electricity. Even though these small motors eat electricity pretty handily, so. And I want this to be pretty quick. So I think we're leaning towards larges. All right, let's see what I can plumb in for larges. Where are we at? There we are. Fortunately, I had a nice clean space to put that in, and that became pretty, like, this is where I wanted to put them, is up in here, and I can't get a large pump in there. Actually, I might be able to get a large pump in here. I have to play with it and see what I can do here. So this is my area here. Let's see. Can I get a large in here? What is that? Okay, let's try putting, I can't do it. It's going to show, let's see, large pump. Yeah, because the belly sticks out, so that's not gonna work. I really wanted to be able to put it in the ceiling like that. I like that. That was a. I did like that notion of putting it in the ceiling, but that's just not going to work. Not at all. So, what is that? Why is this in there? What was that part of? Is what I want to know. Oh, that's part of the door. That has to stay there. Okay, that is the seal for the door, so that has to stay like that. All right, that's one of the reasons I put it there. The hell am I? I'm upside down. That's why. Okay. So that's just not going to work. It's just not powerful enough, and I don't have the space in there to make it work like that. So we're going to take that out for now. And I'll leave a void in there. We'll probably find something to stick in there at some point. All right, there's a void in there, and then I have space in here for it. So we will plan to punch this in here. Read chat in a second, guys. Been out of chat for a little bit. Let me see where we at. You get pushed out. You don't get sucked out. You get pushed out. But yes, you will get pushed out. FT. Yeah, small electric pumps are pretty weak. Nice. Yeah, Stalemate's saying that he did a little bit of checking, and that yeah, that's what Stalemate's been talking about is the things have been coming in at too high of a mass, and that likely fixed the floating issue, which is good. You know, they've been very responsive on this. You know, I think they did a pretty good job at this. So let's see. Let's run dual mediums. We'll see if we need that many. We may or may not need dual mediums. This space is tight in here. This is why I don't like those large pumps. Is they're absolutely friggin' huge, man. These large pumps are so huge. I really dislike them with passion of 1,000 suns. It's tough. Like I literally can't even see in the space with that right there. Yeah, this is a big space. Let's see. Try to find space for the tank, and then I need to get that pump in there. That's tough because those large pumps are frickin' huge, man. Okay, that completely fills that space. Okay. Yeah, that's tough because the large pumps are just huge, man. All right, can I fit a tank in there? All right, ugh, come on. Yeah, see the large pumps are just absolutely enormous, man. So it's like I have to fit in the central section here. You know, so I would highly recommend to people when you're building, build in some cavities because you start thinking you're gonna be able to get the stuff right in there. You're gonna need some space. You really are in order to get things fit in there. All right, that will fit like that. That's actually not too shabby labby right there. We can work with that. That's not actually too bad. All right. How big is a small tank? I do like the tanks. I think the design of the tanks worked out. It's too tall. Uh, I do like the small tanks. I think they worked it. The tank design, they worked out pretty well, I think, with that stuff. Oh, come on. Stop deleting random shit, please. Thank you. What am I doing here? All right, so that will plumb up to the pump there. The problem is now I need to frickin'... All right, what I'll do is I will... Oh, this sucks. I need two. Ugh. Not the end of the world, but it's a lot of space. So one thing I could do is I could plumb all of this in. Oh, Jesus. I'm trying to think, how the hell am I... Payload bay is easy. I have plenty of space to put that in the payload bay. I can do that, but still, it's tough. It's a tough amount of space. Okay, there we go. It's a challenging amount of space, let's put it that way. What are you? You're the floor, something that needs to be covered at some point. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. All right, and let's see. So put them on the back wall. All right, let's go. Will they fit like that, though? Let's try a couple tanks here. If I can get these in there like I want, we'll be in good shape here. Do we have one gap? Give me one gap. Oh, you suck. No, no, no one gap on that. Ugh, it's perfect. That sucks. Let's see. All right. So it's fitting. It's just like quite space hungry. Space. Get it? Space. It's like space, and it's like base. Yeah, Valley Girl. I am a Valley Girl. Let's see. Could just spam a ton of smalls in here too, but we'll go mediums at the moment if I can. All right, there are 3 mediums. I'm just gonna pull all the air out of them. All right, good. All right, so that's gonna take from here. I need to plumb that up and plumb this side up. Ah, crap. That's the door side. That's tough, man. Piss. That really is not good. That is not great. That really is not great. Damn it. Oh, here, I think I can rescue this. Can you go through here? You can. Okay. Can you go through there? You can. Okay, we're not doing too bad here. All right, I can make that work. All right. It's not the easiest solution, but we can make it work here. All right, so let's see. I need to cut through some of these holes here. Cat must want to eat again. He's decided to come sit on my hand. Make life difficult. Come on, bud. You can't touch buttons. He's trying to make me do things. Let's see. I know you want food. It's not time for food. If it's time for food, I would give you food, sir. Alright, that will go under there. Can be frustrating at times trying to get all this stuff in, but it is quite rewarding when you do get it all plumbed in right. There we go. Alright, so we'll have an in and out. The big thing that's obnoxious is the, because the build sideways, a lot of... Oh, crap, that's not going to work like that. Urgh. That's not going to work like that. Damn it. We'll run this for now, and then I'll fix it later. Actually, we'll do it now. I should be able to fix this up pretty easily. Okay, let's go. That will go, and then... So this needs to plumb in this way. this is where like a miniaturization update would be really kind of cool. Is just the ability to kind of make some of the stuff smaller. Like, you know, it makes sense to a certain degree to have absolutely enormous pumps, but it's also like it's challenging with some of the size of some of the components to get them in where we want them. And so I see the value to a certain extent to put that restriction on us, but it also makes it tough that things are so huge that you kind of have to give up on some of the things you want to do, which is always tough. Where's that go to? Right there. I won't go that far. Let's go back. All right, so this will be another fluid port here. Cat is being obnoxious. Wants to bug the hell out of me. All right, there we go. That will go like that. And then this will go like that. I'm starting to get good at doing all inverted rotations, which is gonna be terrible because then I'm gonna be used to inverted rotations and we'll do normal. There we go. All right. All right, so this should be plumbed now. So that should be plumbed up nicely. All right, good. So let's play with this now. Let's go. All right, if I want to pump the room out, I need this one. If I want to pump the room in, I need this one. It's quite cumbersome. So this is something good to think about when you're doing your rooms. Is you really need to be very conscious of the space. So, because if you're gonna have to run larges, they use up a lot of space, and you're gonna have to have tanks for them. So let's see. I don't think we need that much tank, but all right. Why is this not pumping out that room at all? Something got screwed up, I think. Let me check some chat here. Are you going to be all right for power? I should be fine for power. Yeah. Is there enough space to only have one pump and regulate? No, not really. The problem is the valves are essentially 2x2s. So at that point, I might as well just go to, so in order to have two valves, which I require two valves, I used to do that. I used to do one pump and then do valves. The issue being that you get into a problem where it's just as space efficient to run two different pumps, pretty much, because like I would need one pump, which is a 2x, that was it, a 2x2, something like that, and then to have the four valves I need is also 2x2, a 2x2x2, so same as a large, so it's just better to just as good to have that, and I don't have to plumb it as much. All right, let's see what's going on here. I have some pathing issue likely. Why I can't suck that room out, so. All right, barometer's in. Room is sealed. So this one goes. That's the problem right there. I think I just spotted it. So let's see. So that should be going fluid port to the right. Then it should be going down. Then it should be plugging into that pipe there, which goes straight down. And then it comes up to here, which will go through here, and then it tees into three meads, and then it's going to come back down. It's going into the down loop. Comes down here, and then it's going to go under the door frame. Going to come up, and it goes into that fluid port there. So let's see what's the problem I'm having. So it's getting disoriented here. What the hell's this? Okay, that's going up. And then that is going up, and that's in. So let's see where my problem is here. So that's straight, and that's going to the right. That should have been a right angle. Yep, right angle. Okay, that goes down. That's a down angle. That was a down angle. Let's double check it. Down angle, okay. Then goes into that. So that should work. All right, so let's see if something is up. Let's check plumbing. All right, so this should be pumping out the room. Pump out should be turning on this pump. That works. Okay. Going up and through the system. And then I want to read just one of these. So that'll be tank contents, and this will be the tank pressure. We'll see if that's pressurizing. This one here will be the pump in. Let's see what the hell's going on there. All right, we'll see you later there, FS. I should be able to create a vacuum room. That's kind of... what do you mean, like a vacuum room? Like, can I vacuum out a room? Is that what you're asking? That's what I'm trying to do. All right, so those are zeros. That's 0.95. Pump it in. We get nothing. What the hell? What the hell's going on here? Why is this not working? I hear the pump going. All right, why do you not want to work now, you scum? Probably, I didn't put this back on. I thought I pressed the forward button like 8 times. God damn it. I hate it when it does that. Completely unplugged them, but... Alright. Alright, let's test it again. What is going on? Why won't this pump? Let's try something really quickly. I'm going to save this here. SSTO 1 airlock work. Tear some shit apart here really quickly. Now test each loop to make sure the loops are working right. So what I'm going to do is just go... Make a small fit in there for now. Let's see, small. Nope. There we go. Okay. What is going on, man? So that's about as simple as it gets. Why is that not working now? This being on its side is really getting old. It's just like, it's tough to work on like this. Being obnoxious to work on. Could be a pipe issue. We'll see. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna make sure it's not a pipe issue. Sometimes the pipes can get fucked up and then you have to deal with it, so. Alright, so I'm gonna cut all the pipe sections out. and then replace them. Sometimes they get funked up and they don't want to work. Had this before, you can spend an hour freaking working on stuff like this, and then just replacing the pipes fixes it. So I'm going to go ahead and fix the pipes before, you know, I try to figure something out that will never be figured out because it's a bug, and then just go back to it. Okay. Can't see because of all the nonsense in the way. Okay. Okay. Could try putting a gas equalization on there, but shouldn't need it. It might be, you know, I doubt there's no liquid in there for it to be sucking on, so. Okay. All right, let's check that. Let's try to give that a run, see what's up. Just reading some chat here. No idea about oil drilling. I haven't touched it. Copy. All right, FS. Let's see. Let's see if we can't get this figured. What's going on here? What in the sweet name is going on here, man? It's being obnoxious. This really is. Do a simple bullshit test and see what's up here. Was I pumping in the whole time? Let me just check it. If I was doing that, I'm gonna be annoyed. If I had them just hooked up backwards, I'll do a test both ways before I rip things apart. Wouldn't surprise me. Yep, I had them backwards. Shocker there, huh? Okay. I had them backwards. So I have the mid tank hooked up. I didn't fucking hook it up. All right, so it's working. Let's hook it back. Let's actually keep going here. I have a small tank in there, so I want to see, can I fit all this in one tank? Looking pretty promising to fit all that room in one tank. That will really make it a little bit more space efficient. Yeah, if I can get this down to one tank, I think we're good here. So let me quickly hook up atmospheres on that small tank, because we definitely don't need 3 mediums, which is good. That was going to get excessively large, I think. So that's not too bad. Let's check this small tank. I want to read the pressure and volume on that. And I want to flip these here while I'm at it, because that was bugging the hell out of me that I was getting these wrong here. Pump out. They're correct. I was just, they're correct. I don't know why I was just pressing the wrong button. I was thinking pump in the tank, not pump out the room is what I was thinking. That's why. All right, so that's good. Let's pump. I screwed that up. Okay. So the benefit of a medium tank is as we get to a higher atmosphere, the pump has greater resistance, so it's going to slow down the flow. So if I do use a larger tank, or say two smalls, hopefully we should be able to pump it out more quickly because it's going to be facing less pressure as it gets there because the tanks have more space. So like there, so that's up to 77 atmospheres in one tank. And so no wonder this is slowing its rate because that's approaching the 100 atmospheres that this pump can take. So let's quickly do some stuff here. But it's good to know that small will, so probably two smalls I'm thinking are going to be fine. Fine where the hell we are in this build. So that's actually not too bad. Like that, I need like literally one block to be able to fit like this in a lot more compactly. That's not the end of the world. Oh, actually I can do it. Beautiful. Look at that. We can do it. Excellent. That's actually pretty damn good, man. This can go up one. Let's delete you. Delete, please. Thank you. Thank you. There. So nice. So we will go like this. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. This will keep this a little bit more compact. What's that? Floor pieces? Floor pieces. All right. So if I had, like, if I'm really hurting for space, that's why I'm trying to build a little bit economically is if I ever get in a situation where I'm really hurting on space, I want to be able to have space to put other stuff in here. And I need to pump out that airlock. That is like the payload bay. The payload bay is quite large. So that is something that I have to be concerned about is pumping out that airlock bay. Because that's going to require a lot. So I have to keep that in mind. But I can put that in the engineering section. So I can have more than enough space to put that. I can actually, you know what I can do? I can pump the air into the engineering section because the engineering section is what provides air to the RCS thrusters. So that will actually work. The problem is it's a custom volume. The custom volumes have been a pain lately. All right, so let's test this system out here. And I want to read new numbers. So I don't really care. I'll just double the tank contents in my head. The pressure is what matters to me because essentially what's happening is if you have one tank at 100 atmospheres, you split it between two tanks, it should be two tanks at 50 atmospheres for the same volume. And so that way the pump is strong, starts slowing down as it gets resistance from the atmosphere, from the pressure essentially, and the splitting the tank should allow me to get this pumped out. The pump should still remain at speed. So like before we at 74, so what are we talking there? 37. So we're about where we were last time. Yeah. So I don't have to pressurize it as much because the tank is bigger. So I don't need to pressurize it as much. So like before we were at around 70 atmospheres, now we'd be at like 86 atmospheres because we split the tanks to two tanks. And so this is pretty much the value to display on these tanks is reading in meters cubed. So essentially add 3 digits onto the value. So we have 2,147 liters of air in those tanks right now. So it's meters cubed. So it's 2.14 meters cubed of air. Cubic meters of air, meters cubed. So I would say this at this point is negligible, how much air we lose. I'm not concerned about that, losing that, that's 3 decimal places of air. I'm not really all that concerned about that. So yeah, I'm not all that concerned about losing that. So that system works pretty well. All right, good. So let's just we'll do a quick little test here, test-a-roni. So this is working now. So we can open the door. So these are equalized. Close them. They should be right on the money there. Pump it. Wrong one. There we go. Pump that one. So that's working pretty well there, I think, so far. Just wait for this to pump all the way out. Just going to try to get this as much as pumped out as possible. All right, so I think we're there. Let's look. We should have trace amounts of atmosphere in there. That's good. All right, this is going to blow. So all this air is going to go in. So somebody asked, can you get sucked out? You don't get sucked out. You get blown out. So a vacuum is nothing. So that room has nothing in it. Literally nothing in it. So we can't get sucked in the room. We can get blown in. So we're pushed in. The air wants to equalize. And as you can see, yes. And so we have that air in there. I kind of screwed up with that test. But let's go ahead and we'll do another quick test. So airlocks are working pretty well. So that's called delta P, change in pressure. So the delta P is what's dangerous. Is change in pressure is, it always wants to go from areas of high pressure to low pressure. That room is full of low pressure. There's nothing in there. And so, think of it like you're in a tank of water and you open it up and the water wants to spill in. The water is what's pushing you in the room. It's not the vacuum sucking you in. It's what's in the room pushing you. That's why you put two vacuums in. There's nothing to push you. There's no delta P. Right, so pretty much like the other thing too is if you notice here we have a pressure value of 43. So what I can do is I can also trigger this by pressure value in the tanks. The problem is as we lose any atmosphere, we lose that. So, all right, so we're pressurized, and we should be able to see we can almost instantly push it. So it takes us a little bit of time to fill the room, but it's very fast because it's just the air's under pressure, so it's helping the pumps. The pumps are not having to really work. They're just like a valve would work. So maybe I could just valve it out. Yeah, I might just do a valve instead of another pump. I don't need to pump out, so I might just valve it out. I could do that. That could actually really streamline this. And then as you can see, we're equalized again. So let's try that. Let's try valving it out. That would actually work fine, I think. So I might be able to get this more compact. So each room is going to require, so essentially the more tanks you put in there, so theoretically, what do I need to get up to on atmospheres? So we're at 4 atmospheres. So there's actually we can do some simple math here to figure this out. So let's say I wanted to use one small pump and I wanted to use a relief valve to essentially equalize the tanks with the room. So that's all I need. So I need one small pump and I need a valve. Okay, so we have those things to equalize that room. So what we do is if we look at this now, we're at 43 atmospheres. The issue being this. If I wanted to use a small pump, the small pump can go up to 10 atmospheres. This might actually perfectly work because it was 10.9. 10.9 times 4, is going to be enough. So if I did 4 small tanks, which I can't fit in that space anyways, but if I did 4 small tanks, I could use a small pump because I can go up to 10 atmospheres. So I could actually do that if I wanted. I could do 4 small tanks. But I could also do 1 small tank and a large pump, but it takes longer. So I don't want to take so long. So let's see. Let's play with this a little bit. We might be able to get this. I'm trying to get this as compact as possible. So, like, I can't fit in the ceiling. There's just no space. I would, like I said, I need, calculations-wise, and I know I need 4 small tanks. I can't fit 4 small tanks in here and a small pump. So that's just not going to work. Not going to be able to do it unless I want to expose the pump, which I really don't. I could. It might not look that bad. Let's play with it a little bit. See if I like it. Because I kind of want to... especially in some of these things, I kind of like to see some of how the workings, especially like some of the space stuff is kind of cool. I like it to be a little bit more industrial, a little bit more like see your workings. I think that's cool. I love that in sci-fi when they like show off how things work. So we would need 4 tanks. There's 4 tanks. Ooh, we're getting close to being able to make this work. Yeah, it's like we're 1 block off from making this work. I see. I can't do a 3 because I need to go up to 43 atmospheres, and I can only go up to like 30 atmospheres with 3 tanks. So I need 4 tanks. How big is a medium? I don't think I can fit a medium in there. Oh, I'm so close. Like, I'm literally right on the edge of having this work with the space. The problem is, like, I can't work on that at all there, and this is occupied by door mechanics over there, so I can't go to the right anymore. So, like, this could work with an exposed system. So, like, let's say... I just want to make it work, and then I can deal with it from there. And then a valve. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to fit it with a valve in there anyway, so let's just seal that up. And then I'm going to redo this side. I'm going to redo all this pumping. I should be able to get this much more compact. Now that I know that if I have 4 tanks, I should be able to run a small pump. That's going to really help me here. And then I just need a relief valve, so... Okay. Just want to get things... Compact is very important to me. I'll read some of this chat here. What are you guys saying? My neighbor's house got rolled. Oh, you mean like toilet paper rolls? I never did that stuff. I'm not a big fan of vandalism. It's not yours. Don't touch it. Pretty simple. What is this? This is screwed up. What is this? I'm trying to see what this is here. What are you? Oh, hinge. That's the door hinge. Okay. That's what that is. Okay. Yeah, at first I didn't understand what you meant by rolled, but yeah, toilet paper rolls, I assume, for Halloween. Let's see. What do I want to do here? Trying to get this compact. All right, there's that. Let's do a quick test. I want to save this. Let's do airlock work. Let's open up. Backups. Okay. Base plate. All right. All right. So I'm trying to see if I can pull that volume of air out with the small. Because the more tank, the more area you have, the lower the pressure can be. So I might be able to even blow it into that compartment and really make it efficient. But I have to see. So. All right, so I'm going to take a tank, a medium tank here, and I want to count the space requirements on this. So we have, what's that? That's 3 by 4, that's 12. What are you? Are you sub 12? You're 7. Okay. So certainly sub 12. Let's spawn that. So let's see. Where's the capacity? I could just read the capacities. I'm 109, and the capacity on these is 46 times 4. So we have more capacity in the 4 tanks than we do in the 1 medium. Yeah. So what is it? 109. 109 divided by 46. So 2.3. So it is. Yeah, so yeah, it makes sense. So they're about the same. They're just based on their space. All right, so I'm up to 10 atmospheres here. 11 atmospheres. Okay, what are we at here? 10 atmospheres on this one. And what's my current pressure? Yep. So 10.99. What are we over there? 11. Yeah, so okay. Good to know. All right. So we probably can make this work with small pump, which small pump a lot better. A lot less space use. So let's do that. So just can't get in the ceiling, which sucks. I really want it in that ceiling, but that's not the end of the world. All right. And let's see, where's my, okay, up there. And then I need four, something like that, four. And then I need to do a relief valve back down. So what I'm going to do is go... Problem again is how big the friggin' valves are. The valves are enormous. Wow, I'm getting lost in the build here. Trying to do it off one fluid port if I can. So let's go like this. What did I just do? Okay. I want to do a corner piece enclosed. Like that, all right. Now, what's this? That is... Ooh, what's this? That's belly panel there. I can do 3 wide on that belly panel. I'm just trying to get really super duper compact if I can. But I'm not going to be able to come back from this. All right, that's fine. Cat screaming for no reason. All right, let's see. Pump there, and then into the tanks and return there. All right. So we don't need to pump back into the room. We can just relieve the pressure because the tank's going to be pressurized. So that's going to go like that. Ooh, this is like, we have some cool spaces in here. I can really get this pretty tight, I think, in here. So, all right, there we go. No, I can't screw with these corner pieces here. That's fine. All right. So we need 4 total. I can't delete you. Nay. I can't delete you. Nay. Okay, good. And then I need to do the relief valve needs to run back down there. So that's a relief valve channel there. So we could run into valve problems here. Let's try putting this valve in here. Yeah, these valves suck because they take up a ton of space. These valves are really huge. As is everything, just like oversized. Like the valve, like that's big. Big for no really apparent reason, just because it is. What is it hitting that it doesn't like? Here, go like this, grab you, like this. Need to find the hitbox on this. There we go. Okay. That was where I was trying to put it, and it wouldn't place. Is there another place I can put you? Not really. Not really. Okay. So that will go there. That's our relief valve. Whatever, I can deal with you in a second there. Relief valve. All right, so relief valve is going to come down. Just let me hook to it. Jesus Christ. All right. Merge that in there. All right, good. So now we need to start pumping off some tankage, which is a word. All right. So I need 4 tanks. I think we were able to do it with 2. We were able to do it with 2 with a large pump, but we're gonna need 4 with a small pump. So And I would rather use the small one. Might even add an extra tank just for the funsies of it. I already brought you down to nothing, so we'll copy it. That way I don't have to just, screw it. I'm not going to copy it. So that way I don't have to drag them all to 0, but I think it's going to be quicker than copying them. All right, so there are 4 tanks in there. Air, 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 air. Okay, so those are full, and then we have our relief valve on this side. So let's see. So there's going to be pump in is going to be the pump, and then out is just going to be the relief valve to let it flow back out. All right. Did it backwards again, but whatever. It's working. How's it going there, Miles? I'll do some tutorials. I want to actually figure some of this stuff out. I don't want to jump on it too early. I want to get it... Oh, crap. This is now taking forever. The old system was working better, huh? The old system was just working better. Alright. Old system was working better. We're going to stay with the old system then. This didn't save me as much space as I wanted anyway, so I think this is... That's why I made the save, was in case this one was a mess. Go right back to the save. Okay. This should be the large set. Oh my god, I saved it when I cleared it out. You suck. Alright, I'll friggin' fix it. Not being ultra efficient today, am I? Not being very efficient today, am I? Damn it. Alright. Yeah, there'll be some tutorials. I need to actually figure it out and see what everything's doing first, you know? The relief valve, though, we can put in. I could, again, I was thinking try and pump it in the room, but it's, the custom tanks aren't working as well, I don't think. Interesting. I'm trying to see if I can send this right back down, but we'll see. All right. All right, that goes up. Yeah, we're gonna use the large pump. Just think it's gonna be it's gonna work better, I think. I really didn't want to, but I kind of have to. Or I don't have to, but I'm going to. All right, and then I should be able to snake that back for relief valve through here. Perfect. So that's actually, I can make this really pretty compact, I'm thinking. So I did 2 smalls before, and that was fine. I can fit a small here. All right, so let's go. Ba-ba-ba-da. Yeah, let's see. Kind of small should be 3. That should fit in there. Because I'm very concerned about, like, as I get more systems in here, I may have to do a bunch more stuff that I just need the space for, and I don't want to lose too much space. So trying to be as cautious of that as possible, because it's going to be an absolute disaster if I have to rebuild a bunch of the stuff, like when I'm really hurting for space. So I want to have that space and not have to worry about it later. So, okay. Where the hell is it? Is it way the hell up here? I don't know where I am. Oh, it is. It's way the Christ up here. Wowza. It's like there. Where you at? Right there? Yeah, right there is that valve. Trying not to put too much into the floor because that could turn into a mess. Okay. What about you? That's right on the staircase. So what I could do is cut around trying to not do too much in the way of getting the space. So you never know what you're gonna want to put on these stairs and stuff, or what you're gonna need in the floor spaces. I'm not gonna be able to conceptualize this if I don't do it out here. Especially my keyboard, my controls are all screwy now because again I'm vertical in the world instead of horizontal, so all of those change. Okay. So this is gonna go like that. So this is just gonna, I need a valve in there, else that's not gonna work at all. All right. I do need a valve, or else it's not gonna work. Do you need a valve, or it's just not gonna work? All right. Yeah, I need a valve in there. All right. Ooh, did I find an area where I can just cut freely? I did. That's below the staircase there. That can be plumbed. Beautiful. That's a plumbing area there. These corners can be cut out. Nice, nice, nice. What do you... That can't. Okay. So good. I'm starting to cut a little bit here. Beautiful. Okay, nice. That, dude, that helps a lot. Okay. Beautiful. That's eating the sucker up. There we go. Beautiful. All right, good. And I think that's what we need there. And then, so that's just the base of the door right there. All right, so nice. That actually helped a hell of a lot. Yeah, I'll do some tutorials. It's just I want to get stuff figured out and right, and I very much didn't want to get into it until the devs had kind of figured out what they were changing, what they were keeping the same, because you know they could have changed a ton of stuff, and then you know we're kind of like everybody's changing the builds, and then they're unchanging the builds, and then changing the builds, and it's just like you can see that being a huge pain. So seems like they've gotten the vast majority of the stuff up and running pretty well, and so I think you know we're starting to get to the point where I'm comfortable, you know, making some stuff that might stand the test of time. Is kind of what I like to do. Is I don't want to, you know, I don't want to. It confuses people if you start like changing it all the time, or like, oh, that one's outdated. Go to this video, and then you're like, do I pull it down and lose the monetization on it, or do I not? So it's like, it's often better just to be like. Wait until it's kind of a more definitive state, and I think we're getting there. You know, that's I want to start the next build challenge, and I was holding off until like I have to get Mr. G's VTOL into the career build series, and I wasn't gonna put it in until I know that you know stuff's working and fixed, because it's not fair to you know have a build that somebody worked on that should be working that isn't. So stuff like that, you know. So I don't want to do a new challenge yet until know that things aren't just gonna be broken. Okay. All right, good. So this can all get put back. All right. So the staircase is fixed. Let's go. What is this? Okay, those should be blocks too. All right, there we go. So I will be getting back to some of that stuff and doing some tutorials, but just wanted to make sure everything was up and running right in game first. That all sealed up? That's all sealed up. All right, good. But I think we're pretty much there. I think they have a couple things here and there. Steam, they said they're still working on. I'm not doing anything with Steam for the challenge, so it's going to be a land challenge. I haven't decided what we want to build yet, but I'm not going in any space stuff yet. That's premature as well, I think. You know, people haven't even got a chance to play with it or learn the mechanics of it, so it's not really. It's too early to be starting that stuff, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. You know, once once people really have had a chance to kind of sit with it and look at it, see what the mechanics are like, then it's time. I'm going to add another tank here just to make sure we're running well. All right, we all aired out here. Air out, air out, air out. Okay. So this is going to be the new system here. So this is going to be pump out. And this is going to be pump in. It's just venting it in. So. And we'll see you later, Citrus. Thanks for hanging out. I'd like to get into a new build challenge, but I'll figure out what I want to do. All right, so let's see. We're at 95, 95. Let's pump out. Yeah, good to see you there, Miles. Thanks for spending your busy time with me. How's the compressed gas in terms of realisticity? How realistic are the compressed gases? Yeah, most of it you can think of gases in real life. Most of it's is pretty much there. There is some density, different masses aren't really in there all that much. But you don't necessarily need it to be, I think for the most part it's intuitive, it's intuitive. Every game is going to gamify stuff because if they made it perfectly accurate, it would just be obnoxious. So that shouldn't be a problem. All right, so we're down to a 0.04 in there. Let's and we'll go ahead and we'll vent. And you notice how it like almost instantly equalizes. It doesn't quite instantly equalize, but it gets close. As you can see, it's coming up. Is it still coming up? It is. So as you can see, it's equalizing pretty quickly. I might put one of those gas equalization valves on there. I don't know. That shouldn't matter. It shouldn't need it, but that's mainly just a filter to keep air out of there. But like if I go ahead and open that room, you see there's a little bit of a gassing, but it's not bad. And then, so we're equal now, and then if I pump out, it'll close that valve. And we're starting to go down again. So this way I don't need a second pump, I just need the valve. Now I could put a small pump on there and pump out the, could put a small pump on there just to get it to be a little quicker maybe. And to equalize a little bit more, but that pressure differential is like what would be in a soda can. So it's like it'd be like you're popping a soda can. We've literally pressurized on the ground. For example, in the Embraer 145, we had a newish captain. I had more time on the plane than he had, and he was trying to do some of my, so you have different responsibilities for the different pilots, and so like on the ground, the pilot, on the ground, the captain will taxi because the captain has the tiller, and the FO doesn't have the tiller on that plane. And so the captain will taxi. And so it's the FO's responsibility to, as soon as you land, you click the stopwatch, and after a minute goes by, you shut off the right engine, the number 2 engine. And that way, you just taxi in on the number 1 engine to save fuel. And so this captain reached over and like instantly shut off the number 2 engine. And so I quickly reached over and I grabbed the window and I popped the window and depressurized the airplane. And I did it like less than a second. And so it was a reasonable pop, but it wasn't like, an explosive decompression. It was just like, tss, and then, you could feel the pressure in your ears, but it wasn't like your ears popped. It was just, And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "That is my responsibility to shut down the engine. Why are you shutting down the engine, less than a minute from touchdown?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm like, you don't. The reason you don't shut down the engine, less than a minute is it's like a go round, and the plane will repressurize, and so you repressurized us on the ground." And so I popped the window really quick so the plane wouldn't repressurize on the ground because then we would have had to go through and do the dump valve. And so I didn't want to go through the dump valve, so I just popped the window really quick, and now the airplane can't pressurize because there's a window open. So I popped my window open really fast. And then he actually kept his hands to himself after that and didn't try to touch my door, my stuff. All right, so we're down to we're nice and low there, so pump out's working. And then we will equalize again. And as you can see, we quickly equalize in there. And then if I open the door up, we get a little bit of a pop, but it's not bad, as you can see. So that works pretty well. So that system's working well there. All right, let me save this. Airlock work, backup. All right, there we go. So let's work on the, so I need a essentially airlock control. This whole section in the front, let's see. I never want to depressurize this area. So that's you need to keep that in mind. So this area up front never depressurized. So what I'll probably do is instead of putting in a depressurization system, what I'll do is I'll put in a kind of like a top off system. So essentially what I'll do is I'll put in a tank of air and a small pump, and what it will do is it'll keep this room and the cockpit equalized. And so that's all it will do is it'll make sure these are always the same. And so what I'll do here, I have to go down a little bit. So these rooms, I do have a door here. I'm trying to think. No, I don't want these hard equalized. Yeah, I don't want these hard equalized. That's fine. So these two rooms should stay equalized, and then we need to work on this. This is a big volume. This needs to go, but we have a lot of space under here to put in pressure equalization and stuff. So let's try to pump in this volume and see if I can just pump directly into the volume. Let's try that. And we will go... Where is the center pedestal is the question here. All right, not there. So I'm trying to find the center point right here. So this is the center point right there. And so what I'll do is I'll punch, what do you, that's RCS. Okay, so we'll punch one in on that. Let's grab some fluid ports here. All right, so we have a couple fluid ports there. All right, and then that's going to be here. So I want to go... Trying to decide if I'm going to actually segment this room or not. I don't know if I'm going to bother or not. I don't know yet. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to pump right into this room. So let's do that. If I can pump into this room... I don't know how many atmospheres this is, so I need to test the atmospheres in this room. So essentially, this is just the engineering compartment. And I'm going to pump directly in here to start with at least, and we'll see what we want to do from there. All right, so pumped right into this room from here, and then this one here will pump back. So this one will just flip. All right, and I'll grab a bunch of controls here. All right, this will go like that. This one will be payload bay, pump out. Payload bay, pump in. This will be a payload bay, and this one will be engineering. Engineering. All right, so need a barometer for payload bay, which goes there, and then I need a barometer for engineering. So grab a barometer. I want it this color. And so I want to see what the pressure is going to be in this room, and depending on that, I'll know if I can overcome the pressure or not. Because we kind of have some numbers off of the pumps. All right, so that's in there. Let's plumb these up. So this is going to be pump in, and this is going to be pump out. Nope. This is going to be, we want to pump into the airlock, and we want to pump out of the airlock. Okay. Oh, the payload bay, rather. Trying to keep the names correct here. All right, so let's see. So we have payload bay, and this is where we have, this is these two. So here's payload bay and engineering. So engineering's at 1 atmosphere essentially. This is at 1 atmosphere. So we're gonna pump out the payload bay. And I could just use a valve. Oh. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna change this up just really quickly. All right, let's go. Space-wise, we're just getting into trouble here. Let's get off symmetry and go with you. All right. That's the nice thing with these new fluid valves too, is they don't new fluid valves, you don't have to have a space in front of them, so that really helps with that. All right, and then this will just be, grab a port here. All right, and then this just needs to be a valve. And a port. Okay. There we go. So this will be, where the hell are we on this panel here? Right here. I can't see what I'm working with here. Right. So this is going to be pump out. And this is going to be, what is that? Why is this there? That's backlight. How the hell did that get connected to the backlight? And that goes there. All right. So this will be for the payload bay. There's a lot more air, of course, in the payload bay, so it takes a little bit of time to pump it out, probably. So they're equalized. And I'll probably start to die here in a minute. Was angry about what? Was who angry about what? Oh, the toilet papers? I assume that's what you're talking about. All right, so we're at about 50% atmospheric pressure now. So at some point, I should start to suffocate in here. This is the thing too. Like in real life, for example, when we're flying in a commercial airliner, depends on the plane what pressure setting you can get to. Was he angry about it? No, I was angry that he gave me shit about it, but I gave him shit right back because he shouldn't have been touching the engine. That was my job. We're on the ground. We're on the runway. We're on the runway, and he shuts the engine off, which was not his responsibility. It was my responsibility, and he didn't follow procedure. So I gave him shit for not following procedure. So he had nothing. He had really nothing to say. You know, you just pull the handle and slide the window, and it. Because it's a pain in the ass to plane repressurize. We have to sit there and we have to wait for it. We have to open the dump valves and let it. We have to go through a procedure and checklist and reopen the dump valves to get the plane to depressurize because he didn't follow the rules. So the captain wasn't following procedure, and I just fixed it. And guess where I learned that procedure from? A different captain. So part of the things with the way that your schedules work is you bid. The way it might work differently in different places, but you bid a month schedule. So you could fly with a different captain every week. You could fly with captain could fly with a different FO every week, and if you're on a month schedule, you might be with that person for a month. So everybody has their different ways they do things, and so you had guys who were who hated it when you open the windows, and you had other guys who didn't care. So we're down to 12. We're down to an atmosphere of a tenth of an atmosphere. We're starting to get hurt there, so. Take off player damage. So this is taking a while to empty the payload bay. That's not terrible. I'm not really too upset about that. It is really not very quick to. So I don't know if if this is gonna get fixed or how they're dealing with this, but this is new, is it? New green LNG carrier. Is that new mission? Let's go look at that really quickly. That seems like a new mission, man. Okay, so it's eventually getting down there. We're almost down to here. We're pretty close to where we need to be. That's pretty close to where we need to be. So I'm not really. I was gonna put it in a tanks. I might still do that. I don't know. But yeah, so the procedure was this: is you land. Yeah, I haven't seen it before either. I'm gonna go try to go find it. You land on so you land, right? So the whole thing is this: is when you're flying, if let's say you have to do a go around, or you end up doing a touch and go, and you do an aborted landing. So let's say your wheels touch down and a car pulls onto the runway ahead of you. You go full throttle and you take back off into the air. Okay. So the way the system works is when you get the weight in the wheels and your wheels touch the ground, the struts compress, it presses a switch. That tells the plane, hey, I'm on the ground. So what happens there is if you've had weight in the wheels for more than a minute, it tells the engines, okay, don't repressurize the airplane. Because the whole time you're coming in, as you're approaching, it will depressurize the airplane. So the airplane should be depressurized on landing. And so the plane will be depressurized on landing. If you then follow the procedure, which you're supposed to be following, as soon as we land, the pilot, generally the FO will click the stopwatch because it's the FO's responsibility to shut that engine off because the captain's responsibility is to taxi us in. So the FO will press the stopwatch. So I press the stopwatch. After about 20 seconds, the captain, while taxiing, because again, you're not supposed to be, no distracted driving. You're not supposed to be taxiing and touching the overhead panel. The pilot not taxiing, which is the FO, is supposed to be touching the overhead panel. And so the captain didn't do what he's supposed to be doing. He's steering us left with the tiller, looking up at the overhead panel, and he grabs the number 2 engine and he shuts it down. And it's only been down, we've only been landed for 20 seconds. You're supposed to wait a minute. And so I go, what are you doing? And he goes, and I grab the window, yank the window. He's like, what are you doing? And I go, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Why are you shutting the engine off? We're not supposed to shut the engine off for a minute. I'm opening the window so we don't repressurize the airplane on the ground and blow everybody's eardrums out. And then he realized he was wrong and he shut up after that. But it took me all of 2 seconds. Is once I pop the window, the airplane can't repressurize. And so then the engine's shut down. Then I could just close the window and the airplane won't repressurize. So it, we were on the runway. It doesn't matter. You're not pressurized at that point. You're already depressurized. When you come in for a landing, once you're down around 1,000 feet, you're depressurized. You don't need to be pressurized. No, there's no phone call number. ATC never knew about it, and ATC is not responsible for that, so there'd be no reason to call ATC. How's it going there, Zerfin? Going all right here? Yeah. So there's nothing the captain to be pissed about. Is something crashing again? Stormworks is having a problem. Let's see if it will respond. I'll probably finish up here in a second, guys. Game's crashing. Like I said, it very well could likely be a PC thing and not the game. But I'm gonna close the game here and I'll finish up. But yeah, there's nothing for him to be pissed about. I was pissed that he was doing my responsibilities. He was fresh to the airplane. So the way it works is, like I had like I don't know 1,500 hours in the airplane. He had like 10 hours on the airplane. No, he had more than that. He would have had to have 25 hours. So he had like I don't know 25 hours on the airplane. So he had come from another airplane where the procedures were different, and so I knew the airplane better than he did. He's the captain, which just means he's responsible for the flight. Doesn't mean that he necessarily knows better how things operate on this airplane. I knew the airplane better than him. I had more time on the airplane than him. So he wasn't following procedures, so I gave him crap for not following procedures. And, the captain is not your boss. The captain is responsible for that flight. He's not the boss. You know, he's not the boss in normal state. He's another union employee. He's in charge of the flight, but he's not your boss. And every once in a while you get one with that attitude and you quickly disabuse them of that. You're not my boss. We're colleagues. We each have our own responsibilities. You're ultimately responsible for the flight, but you're not my boss. And so you ever get a bossy captain like that, we quickly disabuse them of that. But yeah, so it's all right. I'm gonna finish up here. Game crashed again. I think it's a PC issue. I'm having some Windows problems lately, so that was probably it. Like I said, OBS is still screwed up and not showing correctly. So I'm gonna quickly finish up here, and let me just read out. I want to make sure I read out everybody, all the members and the subscribers. But thank you guys for hanging out too. It was a fun stream. Definitely the game seems like it's doing well now. Let's thank Side Mountain, FS Gamer, Connor O'Boyle, Danny, Miles World, Sergeant Chaos, Aaron Repairs, all and Citrus for being members. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can look down in the descriptions below. Thank you to Chickensore for being a patron. That's also down in the description below. Thank you all the subscribers. Thank you for everybody for watching. Hope you've been enjoying it. The game seems like it's in a good state. If you did not see earlier, go ahead and check out. I put out the weekly update. If we you can go ahead and watch that video. It talks about what they have remaining. Steam seems to be one of their last big backers, and I think that they should have that probably done pretty soon. But I think it's been a good week for the game. And what I mean by that is, they had problems, they addressed them. I think their explanations were perfectly reasonable. You know, they were hyper focused on the last thing that they needed to do, and they didn't have to. Frankly, I read into it, they didn't have time to go back and check everything, and that's fine. It sucks. Would have been better if they caught it. Yeah, they didn't, but they did the right thing. And in 18 hours, they had the main thing that scared everybody fixed. So I think game's going in a good direction. I think a lot of the positive people who enjoy the game have kind of taken over the conversation from the really super negative people because, they overreacted, and I think a lot of people enjoying the game kind of came back and was like, put things in perspective. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.